Welcome to Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, episode 188. Check, check, check.
Check, check, check.
What's
It's
up?
in
At
the
least you're
mail.
not like Watson. Watson goes through a whole thing. Well, okay, I shouldn't say all the time, but Watson on occasion has gone through freaking this thing where he does voice exercises before it starts. And I forgot how
It's
that
like he's going in for an audition. That's what Brandon used to make a joke. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather.
Oh, that's right.
Check. Sibilance, red. Oh my God! I might have to do them. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Cinematography.
Best of luck with that. Fuck.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. Well, it's October.
Hyperbole.
Hyperbole.
Yeah.
The hyperbole. Remember wasn't that a thing on this show? Somebody said hyperbole.
That was me.
I
said hyperbole, which is funny because
who's worse, me or you?
I thought it was like the dual. I know. I think I'm the king of mispronunciation.
That's okay. I'm the king of lots of stupid shit. So it don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
Yes.
My memory. That's how bad it is. Because it came back to me, hyperbole, that it was a thing, and I'm like, wait, what was that? Was it? You were making the joke about yourself, and it didn't even register to me until I brought it out, and I was like, wait. So who's worse, my memory or your pronunciation?
Your memory.
I don't know.
Your memory.
Right. and COVID didn't help it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was thinking about the last show we were talking about.
You're in a COVID fog before COVID even existed.
Yeah. The best I can hope to achieve is if they tested my short-term memory, I would say 80% would be like someone like me that would be like, yes. You know what I mean? That's like probably the most you can hope. But when I had a COVID brain, fog brain, I would say I was at like 50% at best,
Oy.
That shit ain't no
But
joke.
then that's when you knew who Imagine Dragons was, funny enough.
Oh, speaking of Imagine Dragons, I sent my friend a text yesterday.
Again with them.
Well, because I was listening back.
I just love how you randomly text people, hey, have you heard of Imagine Dragons?
Well, wait a minute. Let me see what I did. Okay, hold on. I was listening to the podcast, and my brother didn't know, my wife didn't know, I didn't know. We were making jokes about it. Frankie knew, whatever. So
Your daughter knew.
Yeah, I forgot to ask the guys at work. I said I was going to, and I forgot. I'm going to do that next time. I'll do it tomorrow or something. So now I'm thinking yesterday, I go, oh man, I should have asked Scott while he was over because he's the same age as me and everything else. So I sent him a text. I said, hey, Scott, have you ever heard of Imagine Dragons? Don't look it up as this is for a survey. I already asked Mike last week. And his answer was music group, I think. That was it.
Well, there.
So, yeah.
At least he knows. What about Balls Over? Did you check in with him and see if he knows who they are?
I haven't talked to Balls Over. I think I might have saw Balls Over at my friend's stag party.
When he was lowering his nuts into your mouth? There he is.
And I said, move your balls over.
Spicy.
Where's your
spicy balls over?
Girl's clit?
I don't want to get in. Okay, yeah. Scott. At least Scott sounds like he's got his pulse on some sort of reality. That's who it was, Scott, that you reached out to.
No, my buddy Scott.
The Smoke Show. Your buddy Scott.
And not Chris, aka Scott. Yeah, my buddy Scott.
Yeah.
I still don't know if his name is Chris or Scott.
We're just talking. We're not going to go into detail about it because maybe we'll save it for the Halloween episode, and we're hoping Brandon will be back for that. We're hoping for it.
If not, you'll never hear from him again.
Yeah. And he's
Halloween.
officially shit canned.
That's it.
Even though he quit.
Yeah.
He hasn't quit, but that will be the deciding factor, I guess. But anyway, both of us watched Terrifier. Yeah. And I said we didn't want to definitely go into a full feature review in hopes that we do it before, but I'll say a couple of things that I already know. I saw your post on it because someone's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. And again, that was my initial thought too. What slasher movie has the right to be that long? Yeah. I can't believe it. It does not feel like 2 hours and 20 minutes. I don't know how they made that work, but it doesn't remotely feel like 2 hours and 20 minutes. I was shocked because when I was trying to think of what actually happened during the movie, well, and I say nothing happens by any means. I'm just saying I still can't think of that was 2 hours and 20 minutes. Wow, shocking. But there is fun to be had. There's gore to be had. If you like the first, you're going to like this one. I can't imagine. I had two minor quibbles. One of them was a dream sequence that I thought went on a little too long.
Yep, I thought that at the time too.
Yeah, so maybe that's where they could have cut out some, because maybe that,
Yep.
when I really thought back, that was the only thing I'm like, oh, they could have easily trimmed it some.
That's in my
and
notes.
not lost. Yeah,
During
funny
that
enough.
scene, that dude, that's exactly, as I was taking notes, I remember watching this, I was saying, okay, we have more backstory here, so this is how it's going to fill it out. And then I said, although this scene here, this could have been one thing they may have been able to cut. It was like, because it was the one thing after another. Because getting to that, I think he did this on purpose. I think he basically said, he gave it a fuck you. He basically like, okay, the people that complained about my movie said there was no plot, there was nothing, and it was a short running time and nothing happened. So now I'm going to have a longer running. Do you want plot? Okay, I'm going to give you backstory. I'm going to give you two characters. I'm going to give you a family you're supposed to care about. I'm going to give you all the things you asked for. And guess what? It's going to be fucking 2 hours and almost 20 minutes long. Now, are you happy with all your story? Here you go, fucker. That's why I legit think that's what he did. He did a Human Centipede 2. Remember how he went overboard in 2? Just to, you know.
And and it worked, because there's some great scenes in this movie, and sequences that. So sorry, I've scenes and sequences, same shit. But going back to that, dream sequence is a little long, and I'm just a little confused. I know that again, this is hard to not. I don't know if we could talk about this without going into spoilers, but there's a relationship with the two main characters that they talk about, but I don't feel like that's ever fully developed or paid off per se. Like they go back to the dream and then they reconnect the dream, connection with dad and everything else. I'm not entirely sure. That's why I feel like I need another watch to figure out if I can make sense of that, or if it was deliberately left kind of just in limbo. And I'm being cryptic in my description, so I don't know if you caught on to what I'm saying or not.
Oh, I get it totally. I just pieced it together myself. I pieced it together as like, okay, there was something.
Okay, Brainiac.
I have to, otherwise this is what I do when I watch movies. If I watch the movie, if I can construct a reason why, even if it's just plausible, I can accept it, because it goes into my rating. If I watch a movie, I'm like, well, that makes no sense at all, and I can't wrap my head around any way, shape, or form this could possibly happen, even including supernatural things. I still can't. Like I've said this complaint in Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I can't. If the dots don't connect for me, then it's going to affect the way I feel about the movie. So I always try to connect the dots. So in this one, I just simplified it without spoiling it. The way I look at it is, somebody was touched by something, not sexually, but somebody had something going on. They had a supernatural touching going on in their brain, and as a result, it opened their selves to something else, and it was almost like a clairvoyant type thing because of what they were going through, and they wanted to, in essence, warn and make their loved ones aware of what it was. Because Art himself, I mean, you saw the way the first one ends. He's clearly supernatural. You've seen what he did in All Hallows Eve. So this isn't a spoiler to go into that there's more of that. But what happens is, again, without spoiling, it goes another place. It goes someplace else. But my beef was at the end, because I think they took that angle and made it too far. But that's just a personal taste thing when I say my belief in it.
True.
But it does make sense into my theory. Like what I said about, clairvoyance, so to speak, in this, and supernatural. Well, if you have if you have a bad, you have a good. They're fighting. It's just, you can go. I didn't expect that type of supernatural twist, if you will, to take place. Where when it did, it's almost a little, I don't know, sort of.
Jason Goes to Hellish.
Okay, Jason Goes to Hellish without getting too fucking jumpy shark.
They tore a little page out of. Just a little page, not a bad page.
Which is fine.
Just a little page.
It's fine. I mean, I just wish.
Dave,
I wish.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Guys, in case you didn't want to hear any of this, go back about 2 minutes and skip forward 3.
Yeah, basically. Honestly, though, the way we talk, we're so cryptic the way we talk that it's so. Yeah. But here's what bothers me. I listen to podcasts all the time. I'll do it right now. I'll do it with like an old movie, and I'm sorry if I spoil an old movie, because I have to do it for.
We do it all the time here on the show. Or at least I do.
I try not to. I try not. Okay, let me think of a movie where I could spoil something. Um, think of a movie I could spoil something that's old that
The
everybody
Crying
knows.
Game.
A horror movie. I can't get into the crying. I can't talk enough about the movie.
Sleepaway Camp.
Okay, Sleepaway Camp. So let's say you're reviewing Sleepaway Camp, and I can't stand when people do it this way. They're talking about Sleepaway Camp, and they'll go, "Yeah, and Angela, when she does the curling iron over here, maybe she's doing it because she really has a resentful feeling about females because she's spoiler pretending to be one."
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking. When somebody just throws the word spoiler
Spoiler.
out there,
You're
doesn't
like,
give you a
ah!
chance. Right.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it, fuck you. How's that? I mean, most people know Sleepaway Camp, but
Yeah,
sometimes
Gary. Oh wait, that wasn't the Gary this time. Sorry.
I don't think
I'm going
anyone's done that. That's why I use
or
that. I
Gary Miller.
wanted,
I love Gary.
but it's like if you're gonna say something and you're gonna spoil it, and if you
Oh,
really are gonna say that, if you're having a show where you do spoil, then that's different, and everybody knows you spoil every show. But and that might not have been the best excuse. But I just don't like when somebody's talking in mid sentence they say spoiler, blah 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 blah. I mean, just fucking stop,
yeah.
please. Have some consideration for your listeners.
Just stop.
Oh, really? If
Anyway, but
nothing else, I have consideration for the listeners. I'm sorry. It's treat others
I will say
like
this,
you want to be treated.
and I can tell we have a delay because we're talking over each other and whatever. So I apologize yet again, everybody, but especially you, Dave. But what you were saying, I remember hearing that this movie, his first cut or his initial cut was 2 hours and almost 2.5 hours or whatever. So I think this is the cut we got. So I'm wondering why we sat on it for 2 years. That's a long time ago. I'm pretty sure it was this time 2020. And I thought it was coming out for Halloween 2020, actually.
I don't know. I guess COVID delayed it somehow with things they could do. I'm guessing. I don't know. Weird, isn't it though? I mean,
It is
we could
weird.
easily say October. They wanted to make it an October release. They want this they
Yeah.
want this franchise, which is so smart because if you're going to do franchise things at all, if we're going to continue to have Terrifier movies, which we just may, then don't you want to be in that category of the movies that get released every October? It's a good place to be in. And people have done it.
Yep.
We saw, the Saw movies did it for a while. The Paranormal Activities movie did it. They got into the October frame of mind, which is great because it gives someone something else to look forward to in this festive of months. Because people are
You know,
festival. People are festive.
you were talking about the director not getting, people shitting on it because there was nothing but gore and whatever, which, funny enough, a lot of slasher movies, that's just what the 80s ones, that's what they were, but without the gore. And then you just get a hodgepodge story anyway. So now at least you're delivering on the gore aspect of it.
Right.
And I usually said, and this is why you thought I wasn't going to like the original Terrifier, that I usually like the in-out done kills, gory but in-out done. Like they deliver, but then they're out right away before you can
Fair.
really. And then Saw and everything kind of introduced the prolonged kill and everything else. And so Terrifier dwells upon it, but yet it still managed to be fun, if you will. Defining fun is different for everybody, but it was fun and it was gory. And what he does here, and what maybe we even should give him even more credit for, is his special effects work, because he did the special effects work too,
He did.
the makeup effects, and they're
Yeah,
amazing.
they're good. They're pretty good. They're pretty good. They have a little bit of that, and I'm not shitting on it at all, but they have a little bit of more of that low budget gore look than other type of gore. You know what I'm saying? Like you can watch
Do you
like a
think it's
low
the
budget.
gore, or do you think it's just a new realm of filming on digital and everything
No,
else?
no. I think it's the gore
It's the
because I mean we've
eh,
seen other
I didn't see
movies.
it.
We've seen. I saw it in the first one too. I mean the split scene was great, but there's just again only a little bit. But it's hard to like put into words the kind of gore I'm thinking of. But like when you see like lower budget films, you can kind of see like where they don't go the extra mile to make everything look. And again, I'm not saying they always did in the 80s because you can look at some of the 80s stuff, especially now when
Or
everything's faded
70s
out.
crayon red or whatever. Like,
Oh yeah, but I like that. But I mean, like the even Savini, a couple of his
oh yeah,
things, you can see it now. Like the burning, the raft scene. There's a couple things that to me I used to think were awesome, but the more I watch them and the more I'm in on the secrets, I'm like, okay, I can see an elongated neck. Or same thing with Kevin Bacon and stuff. And again, and I'm not knocking it. So even Savini, But however, that's not every movie. By the time Savini did The Prowler, that was fucking top notch in everything he did. Everything looked real as can be in that one. You know what I mean? Certain movies.
Did you watch your 4K of Friday yet? I know we talked about this last time. The reason I say that is it's so clear you can actually see Tom Savini under the bed now. Sorry. And Tassos is sucking him off under the goddamn. It's crazy.
Sucking him off.
I missed all of this in the previous releases.
Oh, that's a good one. But seriously, did you watch it or not? That's what I
No,
watched.
I haven't.
Okay, me neither.
I haven't yet. I'm
Okay.
so well because a combination of busy and just watching 2022s and still not seeing everything. Again, Shudder dropped another one. They dropped that Sissy movie, which you should check out if you haven't already.
It's already been on my MB watch list immediately.
And you watched it
before. No, I didn't watch it, but it arrives.
Just,
Every day I look at my thing on my MB, and they come across, and it says new releases, and I go in this one thread, and everything new, and I'll scroll through, and if I see something that has a horror possible title, I'll look, and it'll say horror, thriller, I don't know. So I'll look it up. Now, here's what's funny. Usually when I get them, it's day of, you know what I mean? Or sometimes even the day before.
Excuse me.
So what I'll do is, first thing I'll do is go to IMDb, and then I'll go to Letterboxd and see what's going on. I went to IMDb, I saw a little action, very little. I went to Letterboxd, and I saw 5 people have watched it already. As soon as I saw that 5 people have watched it already, I knew one thing. This has to be a Shudder movie. Sure enough, I looked, boom, Shudder. It's always there. Shudder is basically, and that's what they wanted to be, the Netflix for horror fans. Anytime something is on Netflix, everybody fucking sees it. Anytime something is on Shudder, everybody fucking sees it. If not, if a regular horror movie drops that isn't on Shudder, I look, and I look, and I see, and I look, and maybe one person has seen it the day it drops. You know what I mean? But I saw 5. I'm like, that's got to be
Jason Lloyd. Or Jason Smith. Or Jason Lloyd, maybe, too.
Well, yeah,
but
Lloyd jumps on things, too. They do. The Jasons jump. The jumping Jasons. It's like a tag team in the 80s.
I wonder if Jason Parker, I'll have to reach out to him again and just see if he's jumping on these new releases as much as all the other Jasons.
They could be a 3-man tag team. And speaking of
3
Parker,
Jasons.
Speaking of Parker, the 22 shots fucking gang, they're at Cinema Wasteland right now. I wish I was there with them.
I saw that picture of them all.
I could have gone. I just didn't. I couldn't go.
Even Moods was there, eh?
Yeah, that was the whole. He inspired it. He's like, okay, we're gonna be here. Let's go to Wasteland. And he's traveling around. He even drove through Buffalo at one point, but I didn't have time to hook up with him, or he didn't have time. Anyway, yeah, Moods is there. JP, Dave, Carly, and other people. Tyler was there. There was a couple others. They were posting some pictures. I wanted to be there so bad. It's just September is a bad month. I've told you that's when I pay taxes at the end of September. So all I've done is work overtime this whole month, and just I can't travel right now. But we're doing.
Where the hell was it anyway?
Where the hell is it again? I forgot. I don't know. I can't remember shit. Here, let's see if it's.
So that Niagara one, by the way, Niagara one, I think it's a go. Like let's do it, but it's not inexpensive. If we do both, it's going to be like I think the Horror Manor is $50 just itself
for a ride. Holy fuck!
Well, it's a hayride and like 4 haunted houses.
Oh,
so you pay for the whole thing.
Oh,
it's like
yeah, I get that. So you're there for a good 2 hours.
Yeah, so that the Frightmare in the Falls goes from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then this Horror Manor thing starts at 7 p.m. and goes to I don't know whenever 10 or 11 Saturday night. So it's going to be a long ass day. But I figure if we're there, we could do both. We don't have to do both. Vince, I don't think. I might if Vince is coming back that morning. Maybe he can't make it to Frightmare in the Falls, but maybe he'll come to that the Horror Manor thing after. Well, he can't come to the because he's. Yeah.
I got the names.
I mean
Frightmare in the Falls, Haunted Manor.
Yeah.
It's all.
Whatever. I know but I mean Peter, my buddy Peter's saying he's going to come. Most likely he just said it because it's a long day. He said he'll just check with the wife, make sure there's nothing going on that he's unaware of before he commits. But yeah, man. So just let me know if you're in, and even if you're just in for half
I'm
of it,
definitely in. I'm ready. Oh, no, I'm ready. I'm getting the freaking tickets as soon as we can get the tickets. We'll get them. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Yeah. I'm excited as hell. Hopefully, I don't know if I have to use that ArriveCan thing anymore, that app, but
no, I think they finally nixed it. At least they nixed it. Yeah, they did because I heard about that. We don't even have to wear masks on planes anymore or in the airport if you don't want to. Thank
Well,
God. It's
that's good.
recommended, but you don't have to.
I'm not wearing them, but there's still certain things that I won't do that I used to do. I'll tell you that much. Like I won't share a joint with somebody anymore. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna be swapping fucking saliva with people just to get high. Now, if I was single, I'd swap saliva to get laid. Yeah, but that's getting laid, you know. I would take the chance for that. How
That's
fucking
getting
weak am
laid.
I? Although
Yeah.
ultimately, I think at this age, I think at my age now, if somebody told me for the rest of your life you could only get laid or get high, not both, I think I would choose high. I know it's a sad statement. I never thought I would say that, but I think at this case, at this stage, of course my wife would leave me, but I mean, I just I'm so much better off with that buzz on. It just keeps me the person I want to be is the person I am when I'm high. How's that? That's
There you go.
really who, honestly, it is.
Horny.
Well, and I am horny, but that's the problem. But then you have your computer. You can still do your thing. It isn't like you can't do it. Like if you can't get
That's where I
high,
wear
which
my mask when I'm doing my
nothing.
thing because I don't want it accidentally to hit me in the face anymore. So I just keep it I'm masked up.
Speaking of porno, I thought of something last night.
Speaking of porno.
I thought of something last night. I
Yeah.
can't believe this is a business venture that nobody has done, and another $1 million fucking Dave Z idea that's never gonna come to pass because I don't have the money. Because you need money to make it. Now I don't know if you realize this, but a lot of the porno you watch, some of the stuff looks brand spanking new and is brand spanking, and it's crystal clear. You could almost say it's HD quality. But if you go on
Yeah.
sites, X videos or porno, whatever the hell people go, a lot of the other stuff, even stuff from the early 2000s, now it's all pixelated. It looks like it's fucking VHS quality. So I think somebody should open up a porn site and take everything, remaster all their fucking pornography so it all looks high def as much as you can, upscale it all beautifully, and
That's what
then
the old. I like the old look though, of
no,
like
but
that
you can't really get a
Swedish
good.
erotica 19.
Yeah, but
What?
I want to see what the girl's face looks like if I'm attracted. I want to see them as clear as I can see them. I don't want to see a VHS version, fucking pixelated, of
That's
somebody
what
that
made
I'm
it
into.
good. Well, because that's exactly it. HD came in. You're like, oi, holy
I'm like,
shit!
doesn't have to be
Look at that
HD.
asshole.
Well, I just want it to be clear as fucking you are on Skype right now. I'm not saying it has to be ridiculous 4K or anything like that. Actually, you're a little unclear today, so I don't know. You're not as clear as usual. But either way, but still, you get what I'm saying. Where you could see them.
I get what you're
Somebody,
saying.
somebody should take a site, have an idea, and say everything here is clear as a bell. We're gonna upscale it all. We're gonna do what we're gonna do. We're gonna charge you,
As
you
clear
know,
as a bleached asshole.
like $5 or $10 a month, a flat rate. Okay, a flat rate for this site, but everything you're gonna watch is gonna be fucking top notch. We're not changing anything. It's the same videos. This one might be 3 minutes. This one might be 8. This one might be 58 minutes. It's all. They're not changing one thing. They're just taking everything they have and they're upscaling it in a way where it all looks good, and then they charge everybody a flat fee for the month. I think that would be a fucking $1 billion fucking investment. I think you'd make a lot of money with something like that.
I'm sure you would.
Yeah, but nobody's done it. See,
I'm sure.
once again, here I am, just with an idea, right? This fucking dumb
Upscaling,
brain.
upscaledporn.com.
Yeah, just fucking whatever they call it. It doesn't have to be whatever the word is. I say upscaled or high restoration. An HD restoration.
You're
That's
like
it.
doing what they do for like lost film prints and whatever. You're doing it to like Anal Intruders 10 from like 1974
Well, don't you want
when
to see
when
them?
when anal was brand spanking new. Other than
At least,
the first 9 that came before it.
but I mean, you find somebody you like, right? You find a performer that you like, and then you go down the list and you say, man, I like this performer so much, I want to see all their scenes. So you go to her freaking page. She has 3 pages. She has like whatever 90 scenes, and you can only legitimately watch like 10 of them because most of them the quality is so shitty. I'm not gonna watch shit quality. It doesn't make it. I can't see the girl. I'm into the girl. I want to see her. I don't want to fucking, you know, see a pixelated version. I want to see is in this day and age, we should be able to do these things. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm
just
sorry. I'm
look at
texting
dude.
because I need to do this.
Look at us. We have horror fans out there that are complete marks that'll pay ridiculous prices for restored, polished turds. Okay. Now, this is a niche audience. If we've been through this, and I'm just using this as an example. What I'm going to say is, not everybody, but pornography is bigger than horror. Yes, I said it. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Pornography knows no fucking dimensions. Sex is king. That's all there is to it. It's sad but
It's
true.
always been that way.
Right.
I think it's
So
always been that way, right?
a good site can make their name known. They should even team with like a major like who's big in the sex world. You know what I mean? Like some like not you know how like certain things were almost kind of like household names at one point, like Vivid Video. Like everybody knew what Vivid Video was at one time when they were big.
Mm.
Like now, who's the big name? It used to be Pornhub, but now they're different now. So I don't know, but if there's like a big name, even like hook up with like a strip club, like Cheetahs.com or something.
Brazzers, however you pronounce that. They're I think the a big one online. No,
They're big, but their videos are too short. A lot of those good ones that look nice and clean and are cool. Well, no, you only get like 3 minutes of actual sex. It's like a 10-minute video. You get freaking 6 minutes of introduction and blowjob. You get 3 minutes of sex, and it's like, I want fucking a good scene. Anyway, let's get off it because what's his name?
you
It did. I
gotta
didn't
do
bring it
like
up.
I think Dave needs to do like a sub genre. Oh my God, another podcast just based on porn. I
Oh, why
can't
not?
talk, and it's just the beginning of the show. We're only like 20 minutes in. It's crazy.
Well, I
Oh,
never bring it up.
26 minutes.
I elaborate. You started talking about. I didn't even know how it came to be, but something about pornography or
I don't know if I
porn.
brought porn up.
No, you did.
Oh yeah, you said you're gonna
Something.
do, but you know, but again, you gave me it. You handed it to me, no pun intended,
Let's
because you
hear it.
said
Okay.
we do our thing in front of the computer. And then I'm like, yeah, and I wear a mask so that I don't get myself in the face. But you
Oh, I
gave
know.
me that you handed it to me. I edited that and then it came back. So you helped me open the door. Essentially, you unlocked it and practically pretty much opened it initially. I just opened it full and then you jumped right through.
Well,
Fulla?
Fulla. Fulla?
I know.
Sounds like something
I
Mike
know.
Merriman
You can
would
do this
say.
show on your own.
Open it Fulla. Fulla. Um, Fulla. Okay. That might. I'll tell you what. Let's see. FLA. Would that be like a good
Fulla.
slang term now? Fulla. I opened it
Yeah.
Fulla. So
We
no,
got a
I
great
kind of
show full
started
of
it.
surprises today.
Yeah, this is surprises, all right. I was the one that said I would take sex over or getting high over sex
Mm.
because there's an alternative to sex, and there's not really an alternative to high. So
And then your
I
million
kind of.
dollar idea. I didn't have the $1 million idea. You had the $1 million
What else
idea.
is new? I
So
always do.
I didn't bring up sex the same or porn. It was your $1 million idea.
But I brought it up as a business venture to make money. Basically, I use the pornography
There's all
industry.
these little loopholes.
I'm just saying, I didn't do it to talk about sex. I wasn't like I got to talk about porno. It wasn't that. But last night as I'm watching it, that's just a thought I had in my head because I'm getting frustrated with all the pixelation and shit, all the shitty looking fucking. These are things from the 2000 plus, not from the 80s and 70s where you expect VHS. You get what I'm saying?
Well,
That's the problem.
it's no different now than seeing security cam footage or any video footage on the news. Like, what are these people filming this shit on? Everybody's got HD cameras in their phones for like years now. I'm looking like I'm watching it like through a pixelator. Like I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Like everybody's filming everything, yet the quality is shit.
You're right, and even porno that's filmed on cameras looks like shit. Have you noticed that? Did you ever see those homemade things like somebody in their put-ons, but they go, "Yeah, I picked up a girl at the bar,"
Who
and they
brought
just
this up
show
again?
like a thing in the back seat. Yeah, but I'm just saying, for some reason, it's a phone shot. You can clearly tell it is because of the way the bars are
Yeah,
and shit. It's filmed from a phone. That's the gimmick. I picked this girl up or in the
yeah,
back, and you just see like a POV
yeah.
thing, a big booty
Phone
or whatever.
bang.
Yeah, whatever you see. And most of the time that doesn't look good. I'm thinking I could take a video right now of this room of you and I talking, and it's gonna look
Yeah,
good. I don't get this.
I don't get
I
it
don't know.
either. It drives me crazy. It's like they decide that it's almost like the movies that want to be found footage, so they have to put in like the glitches and everything else, like and they overdo it with the
Mm,
glitches and stuff. Uh, it's like one of those doohickeys. Anyway, you know, obviously you've watched Dahmer.
I've watched the first 2 episodes, I believe, of Dahmer.
Okay, then I won't say too much of it, other than it was near perfect. Near perfect.
Well, I'm not surprised because you have Evan Peters and you have Ryan Murphy, who
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
produced beautifully, acted phenomenally by everybody.
Of course.
not a weak link. It's very disturbing, very haunting. The score is great. I like the disjointed kind of Pulp Fiction-esque storytelling, and I just say that again. I'll watch how I word this so that I don't spoil anything for you. I just thought maybe it was one episode too long. I thought maybe they could have combined elements of 9 and 10 together. But what I liked about it is it's much more than just the Jeffrey Dahmer story, as in just him and following just him. I'm talking about the scope that it goes, and that's what I appreciate the show for, because I think a lot of these shows get vilified because it feels like it's glorifying the killer, whereas I don't think this one's doing that at all. I think obviously it's telling the story of it, but ultimately telling about, it's almost like the Halloween kills of the serial killer, real life serial killer things, where it's actually showing more than just the horror of him.
Just watched it too,
So,
Halloween Kills. And I'll tell you, Michael fucking kills. People complain about the movie, but man, the dude is on a rampage the whole movie. So you can't win. Like if you make a Terrifier, if you make a Terrifier and you don't have a plot and you just have good kills, people say, where's the plot? Okay, now you have Halloween Kills. You had great kills and all kinds of plot. People don't like that plot. Everybody wants perfection in their horror, and it's really tough to exist.
Yeah, I mean, I've nitpicked on it too. I nitpicked on that there is some wacky dialogue in that, and some things that just feel weird. However, okay, I still enjoyed the movie. Like, I mean, really enjoyed the movie. I think we both had it rated pretty high in the year. So like, I mean, hey, indubitably, it's been a while since one of those came out. But yeah, I won't talk about them. I thought you'd watch more of it, but yeah, you're absolutely right. It's Ryan Murphy. Much credit to him and to the whole team, because obviously he's the one that sort of pieces it all together and hires all the talent and gets people on board to do it. But there's obviously much more than just him in that make the movie or the show great. But my God, was it great? Like I said, I have to sit on it a bit more to give you a rating, because I'm always so quick to jump on a 10 out of 10 or something like that when I love the show, because I don't really get into shows as much as most people. It's here and there and whatever. And so I usually like or don't like a show. I really don't. I feel like when I'm watching a movie, there's so many other levels. And with a show, it just seems to be my overall interpretation, not episode by episode, just the whole show.
Oh, sure, man.
So,
but you did
as
say,
what were you gonna say? Sorry.
You did say 9 and 10 maybe could have been compacted into one. So then I don't think you could give it a 10 out of 10 if you have a quip like that, saying, well, maybe the ending could.
Well, it's so bizarre, because the stuff that I loved about what they were doing with those 2 episodes. So I loved that aspect, but then I'm like, okay, maybe now it's a little too long, and they could have condensed it, still got the point across, still had the power, and then kept it a little tighter. Again, kind of a minor quibble. And I have one other quibble of the opening of episode 10, I believe. And that's it. I think it's 10, the opening. I can't say anything because you haven't seen it yet. I thought they could have easily done without that. I don't think it was necessary in this series.
Well, let me address this. First of all, the ending and what happens, like I haven't seen it, of course, but basically you can call this a Ryan Murphy-ism. This is the major complaint that I hear on American Horror Story. Me, I happen to love what they do at the end of the shows. Some people say they go on too long, or it should have ended one show earlier. He likes to go into epilogue area and show other things, and I happen to enjoy that about it. Other people don't. I think he kind of makes it. I've always enjoyed it. I guess I'm in the minority. But again,
no, but this is important to the. This is important to the scope of what this show is, and it's not the Jeffrey Dahmer story. I mean, it is, right, but it's monster and whatever, and it's about everything, like pretty much everything he touched. Kind of bringing back to Terrifier, but this is real life. Everything he touched and the horror that spread from that, and phenomenal. But with that, where I'm going with it is, as much as I love that, because that's exactly what I was like, this is great, they're expanding upon, just when you think it's kind of done, it's not done. But then I'm like, oh, maybe they went on a little long with it. Maybe. You might not have this issue. people listening right now might think I'm crazy.
No, I
People may
doubt
have
it.
stopped watching it. I know a lot of people stopped watching it early. I'm like, I don't know how you could.
Horror
It
fans
was
or normies?
fantastic. I don't know. Just
Okay.
like you said, the news feeds were blowing up. You're talking about monsters. It was just as blown up with Dahmer, and people saying don't watch it. I couldn't get through it or whatever. It is not an easy watch. It's tough, but that's what makes it good as well because it's not trying to hold back. This is reality of what happened and what's scarier than real. Like this is truly terrifying
Good,
that
as
this
it
happened.
should be. It
Yeah,
fucking should be terrifying.
his acts, his acts, but also everything that encompasses like the investigation and everything else. And it that's what I loved about the show is how much it goes into the horror that it all created.
Well,
So
see, no, there's a reason why. There's a reason why I haven't finished. I haven't finished. I'm only on episode 4 of Cobra Kai for God's sakes. Okay,
yeah,
so there's a reason for all of this. I watch these shows with the wife.
porno.
I watch them,
I'm
all
sorry.
of them.
I brought that up this time.
It's okay. Typically with the family. Now, Irene and I watched the 2 episodes of Dahmer together, but we're gonna rewatch them with Frankie when she has time. But just between the three of us, we don't have enough time to watch things together. So we watched Cobra Kai. We were going to start Dahmer because Frankie has now seen all the American Horror Stories, so she's all caught up on that. So she's in. So we still have to finish What We Do in the Shadows. So we have these shows out there, but because of how much work I've been doing, I've been working 53 hours a week the last 3 weeks. Irene's been working a lot, and all of October, Irene's going to be gone for all but 4 days. Work, work, work. That's all we're doing. So we don't have the time to get together to watch them. Luckily, nobody spoiled anything, and I haven't really been. But so that's the only reason. Otherwise, Cobra Kai. I've been waiting for Cobra Kai to come
Same.
back since the last year when it ended, and I'm like
Same.
Cobra Kai. I can't wait. I can't wait.
I have
And
3
then it
episodes
came,
left.
dude. I wanted to
3.
watch it
I don't
all
know why
in
I
a
did
day.
like that. 3.
3,
I went like
so
this. I have 3 episodes left.
3. Yeah, that's interesting.
There's something. I'm
Well,
off
this is
today.
easier. That's easier
Call
for me.
Brandon up. Just see if he answers.
All right, add him to the call.
We
See
should
what
just do
happens.
that. Let's
See what,
just do it.
let's see. Add him to the call. Let's see. B. Let's see if it would work. How do you do? Add participants.
Yeah,
Let's see.
we need him. He's the one that adds everybody to the call.
Okay, let's see.
Can
I
we
know,
add
right?
Brandon so that he can add himself?
Brandon Orlick. Let's see. Call free on Skype. Okay, let's add him. Let's see what happens.
Call free.
Add to call. Add. Let's see what happens. Okay.
We did a little test here, folks.
So we're attempting
Maybe
to.
we'll get a
add
cameo.
B. Well, first of all, if he's not on Skype,
Why are
he's
you
not even
flashing?
invited.
You're flashing maybe because you're making the call. It's weird. I got a little notification saying 2 of 3 are on the call, and then your screen just starts flashing. It's very odd.
Fucking knows with this shit. He's unavailable. It said. So.
All right.
No.
Well, we
Am I still
tried,
fl-
everybody.
Am I still flashing?
You are. We got to somehow end this call, end the attempt at calling them.
The problem is we can't. So hold on. Let's go to participants. Okay, let's hang up on him. Can you hang up on him, or can you?
I think you have to do that. No.
I think if I press the phone button, it's gonna call him though. So there's no way to hang up.
Here, let me edit this. I can't edit
Look
it.
what
Damn
we've
it.
done, folks. Look what we've done. Try to have a little fun, and now the show goes right to shit. So maybe we stop the recording.
I think we might have to stop and start again. Okay, we have to hang up.
Okay,
Oh my God,
we're gonna
us with
hang up.
technology.
I'm gonna call you back this time instead of you calling me. We'll make a
Okay.
change. Maybe you won't glitch as much. All right,
Maybe.
folks. We'll see you in a minute. Okay. That's funny. That's
Well,
it.
that failed. That failed.
Yeah, we
Like,
tried.
fantastically failed.
That's what we get. That's what we get. Trying to be fucking smart asses
Yeah.
and add B when he's not even available and see
Yeah.
what happens. Well, let me say this. Back to that Ryan Murphy thing. Pardon me, but back to that monster thing. It's so funny because you have all these normies watching it because it's a Netflix show. If it wasn't on Netflix, they wouldn't be saying shit. Even if it was on Prime or Hulu, you catch an occasional person. Just because of the power of what I always say, it's the Netflix effect. Everybody's watching it. You have all these normies watching it and complaining. And I'm like, where the
Normies.
fuck have you been? I put up a thing. I was like, first of all, this is not new subject matter, nor is it subject matter that you shouldn't have never heard about in the past. You know what this man did, do you not? If you're putting on Dahmer, it would be like me putting on, some guy's name I didn't know what it was. Let's just watch this movie. I'm not going to do that. You know what?
I think you already know going into Dahmer. If you don't know that he was a cannibal or that was an aspect of what he did, you've been living in the dark. Like, I mean, that's the first thing. Even if you just have some sort of, even with you and Imagine, well, I mean, there was you with Imagine Dragons, I guess. But I mean, Dahmer, 30 years old. I mean, you just got to realize that 30 years ago, it's just part of history and pop culture.
Yes.
It's crazy. And then, like, yeah, right. I mean, people are going in like, what? Like, I wasn't expecting this. Like, well, what were you expecting? And then again,
Right.
it is a serial killer thing. So, I mean, where was the line for you?
I don't get it, dude. It's like, what are you thinking? And now you're watching it. It's on Netflix. What do you think of it? It's on Netflix. I mean, it's going to be fucking clean and tidy or something. And you know what this dude did, or do you not? You're watching it. You want to complain about it. Well, that's fine. But there have been other movies about Dahmer. This is not new subject matter for fucking media. Just because it's not on your Netflix or on your streaming service doesn't mean there hasn't been stuff done before. There's the Dahmer movie from, what, 05? Whatever the fuck it is. Not 05, I'm sorry. 02. And there's the one that I love. The other one, my friend Dahmer.
My friend. That's what I was telling my wife we got to watch.
Oh, it's fun. I've been telling my family for a year we got to watch this, that they would like it. And I tell them, here's how I sell it to them. I said, there's no killing in it. It's just a dramatic piece on him growing up, and at the end, he's about to make his first goal.
Still. Yeah.
Yes.
And fucking very creepy, yeah.
They're touching on this same information on this Dahmer show. They're talking about his mother, and I'm like, okay, good. I'm glad they're doing this. Now other people get to know, but it's like, this Dahmer things have been around for a while, like all serial killers. Why are you acting like this is some new thing? That's what happens when you're a normie and you watch Netflix and you think you're just going to watch some fucking show. So you got the normies over here bitching, and here's the other part. You got the fucking asshole horror fans over here that are putting it down, saying, oh, Dahmer's such... He's a boring fucking serial killer. Oh, he's like this, and he's like, there's so much more better fucking things you could have done than this. Sorry. This is lightweight.
How do you become an entertaining serial killer? Like, you gotta juggle while you're killing.
Well,
he juggled. Casey, he's so much better because he was in a clown outfit. Ah, waka waka waka.
He juggled. That's great. But seriously, that's what these people are saying, that there's better people you could have done, blah, blah, blah. This is so typical. Oh, it's always about Bundy or Dahmer or Manson. It's never about these other guys, like, that did so much more, that would be more interesting things to focus on. Guess what? You're not going to sell it as much. You're not going to sell it as much. Dahmer, you want to get out there. And again, fucking Ryan Murphy, there's reasons for him. He knows that Evan Peters is going to kill it because he does. And he knows that he has a little bit of a look enough like Dahmer that he could do this and put him in this role. And there's the whole homosexual thing going on here. This aspires to fucking it's a Ryan Murphy vehicle. He's a gay man. He features gay themes in his, you know what I mean? So this is like prime for him to cover. I'm surprised it actually took him this long. But I mean, yeah, it's a perfect marriage to me. And once again, like I said,
you can find shit about every serial killer. I don't understand it, but from a wide range, you've just nailed it. It fits the mold of everything that you'd want. And obviously they were right. So fuck the horror fans, because they're not necessarily making it for you. They're making it for them and finding whatever audience they can. And it was a smash hit. Like, out of the gate, it was like the most watched, beat Squid Game numbers and whatever. So wow. That's what I fucking hate. I agree. And then the other ones that would just jump to, like, why are we glorifying the serial killer? Like, like it came out with, I think it was with the Ted Bundy stuff. Mm-hmm. The one that was made 2 years ago. It had that title. It wasn't just Ted. No, that's
Shocking.
The tapes, the actual, yes.
Yeah, Shocking, Vile, and something.
Yeah. I can't remember the name either, but that one. And I remember that being vilified at the time. Again, I'm going by memory here of saying it was glorifying the killer. And you could argue this because you're making an entertainment piece about a real life serial killer that horrified everybody. But I truthfully believe this movie did it well, but it doesn't shy away from the ugliness. So if that's what glorifies it, then okay, then it's doing that. But ultimately, I'd say it shows the horror it caused. It shows the impact it had on these families, the city, and everything else. Like I said, it's much bigger than just Dahmer.
Well,
And
there
it
you
gets
have
into
it.
this. It
You
gets into
see?
this.
And they've been doing this on TV for years. We had Helter Skelter. Awesome. What do you got there? What
What
they give you?
smoothie.
Ah,
My wife treated me well. She probably heard me talk about Dahmer. She loved it. Like she would have liked to talk about it too. I think we had the same quibbles. And again, I can't go into the spoiler territory of one of them. But nothing horrible. Nothing drastic. That's why I'm saying I'm still mulling it over. Even though I thought maybe it was one episode too long, I still like what they did there. But with those two things, just those two things, I'd maybe go 9.5 out of 10.
wow. Well, then I'm gonna love
You know
it,
what I
of
mean?
course.
Like
So far, I do anyway.
that,
But
yeah. So that's it. But on shows, there are so many horror shows out now that
too many.
I'm not hearing people talk about. And again, I'm not even watching. My wife happened to catch a preview for Interview with the Vampire. So
Yeah, I
it's a new
saw
take. So she watched the first episode, maybe the first two episodes on already, and she liked it. She's a big Anne Rice fan, and she's like, I think she's gonna see how this progresses. She can see people being very upset or annoyed by it, but it's not like a true Blue remake. It's kind of, it does touch upon all the things in the book, but it's kind of has a different take. Like it takes place in present day and tells a story.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
okay
kind of an
with
interesting
me.
take. Yeah. Without giving, again, I only watched a little bit of it in and out because I was painting. So I mostly heard, and she would fill me in on what was going on, but I was too busy doing some of the stuff that I was trying to get done on the weekend. But she liked that. Then Let the Right One In, a new show version is
Right.
coming out as well.
I know.
And I feel like there's another one that I'm forgetting right now that's supposed to be hitting
I can't keep
as
up.
well. But two vampire things, like vampires are
Right.
like become like a hot property again, but in
Okay.
more in like a show standpoint.
That's how it happens though with horror. A lot of stuff is shows. Yeah, but I mean, dude, there's so many. I can't keep. I haven't even watched that Exorcist show yet. It's still on my watch list, and I really want to. Because I heard nothing but good things about it, and I love the Exorcist. So I'm like, what am I waiting for? I just haven't. I gotta write these things down and see. I always put like movies in my watch list, but I always forget to put shows on there. So I should do that and say, like, after we finish the shows we're watching now, we have to finish Seinfeld. There we are. Luckily, I have my family. I can go back and forth. I can throw some horror-centric stuff in there, and then we can go another route and do a little bit of that. So it works. And the horror stuff that I tend to show them, television show, is TV type stuff, and they love it. Like, okay, the Dahmer thing. There's something else. It's just only a small percentage of the horror fans are being jerky about it. But I'm still saying that they are out there doing that. Jerky. I mean, maybe I'll call you back next time when you're not feeling too jerky. So, but only a few are. But the thing about TV, we've been doing this for a while. We had Helter Skelter was made for TV. We had The Deliberate Stranger in, what was it, 96 or 02, whatever the hell it was, the Ted Bundy one, made for TV freaking biopic. I mean, we have seen these, but this isn't new that they're coming to our televisions about serial killers. People, this is the funny thing about people. I mean, now because it's gory and stuff, it's different and it's on Netflix. Well, that's a cable show. In all, it's like what? It's something on HBO where they can show what they want. It's Netflix. It's TV mature. You're going to show what you want at a different time, which realize this. You know what I mean? When you're going into something like that, you should realize that now. This is a mature thing. If you can't handle mature subject matter, don't fucking watch it. And that's fine if you can. I'm not knocking you. Just if you decide not, don't watch it and then complain. But the thing is this, what a statement on the regular people out there, the normies, that how they all gravitate. They don't like horror movies, right? They're not like us. They're busy with their fucking pageants and fucking weddings and royal weddings and this happened and that and whatever the fuck normies are into. They're and American Idol.
Were you trying to get to the Queen dying? Was that where you're headed with that?
Well, whatever the fuck. Anything to do with the royal people that I couldn't give fucking two shits less about. So any of that stuff, okay? And American Idol and everything else that they watch, their regular normie fucking TV programming and whatever happens to be hot for them, The Office or whatever the fuck they watch. So they're into all this stuff, which is fine. I'm not knocking any of that stuff. Some of it I might like, some of it I know I'm not going to like, but that's just personal preference. But the thing is this, they venture anytime something like this comes around, like on Netflix, they always tend to venture into the stuff that has to do with true crime and fucking serial killers and shit like this. Then watch it and set records, like you said, and then some complain. But they're still tuning in. They all talk shit about horror. They don't watch horror movies like we do. Yet when a horror related type thing, true life horror, comes into play, they want to be first in line to see it. Isn't that, it's kind of fascinating about, people like that they're not, if it's a true life thing, they'll watch it. If it's not so horror fiction is garbage, right? But horror based on true life things, that's okay, because, wow, this really happened, so it's not really horror. How about fuck you? You're just kidding. You're going to watch this fucking shit take place on your screen? That's that disturbing? It was so disturbing that my wife was having trouble with it at first. And she's watched every fucking Ryan Murphy thing with me and other stuff. And the tension of that first scene, and here's me, I'm smirking inside because I know where it's going to lead. Because I know the Dahmer story so well. So I know it so well.
I know it quite well, but yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I know where it's leading.
There's things that I didn't know. Like, I didn't know he lived with grandma as long as he did. I knew he did, but, I didn't know the ins and outs of everything. And they jump around with the time a little bit, too. So you're going from, 78, 81, 91. And so
that's American Horror Story stuff. How familiar are you with American Horror Story?
Not great. I've watched the first 2 seasons.
Dude,
and I started watching the slasher one again. The one with
1984.
1984. I just started that last week, but I've only watched the first episode, which is great. But then I hear it doesn't hold up. But I don't know.
No, it's fine.
You tell me something different. Okay.
No, I like it if it's not one of the stronger seasons. It's not one of the stronger seasons. But every season for me is an 8 or higher. So I still think every season is great. But there are it's still in the lower half of seasons for me. But I still enjoy it. So I still think it's great. It doesn't matter. It's just one of those things. So what was I saying? What?
Well, oh shit. You were talking about Ryan Murphy, I thought, but maybe you're
well. No, that's okay.
Well, the normie is getting into it. I don't know if that's
no, not that.
Still talking about.
Even my wife was being disturbed by it, and she's watched everything American Horror Story with me and has seen all this stuff and other stuff. Halloween Kills is gory as fuck. She's seen these things, but that tension of that first scene, I knew where it was going. I knew this was the scene where something happens because I know the story so well. It was funny because later on when he was talking to someone, it might have been that same scene actually, which was all tension. And he grabs a videotape and he puts it in. I looked right at my wife and I said, Exorcist 3. Sure enough, but Exorcist 3. I'm like, yeah, I fucking know this story quite well of Dahmer and how he got caught and what happened and what went down and the near miss and everything else. It's all kind of fascinating to me. It's an interesting story, even though he's fucked up. And I see her seeing this, and my wife being, a black female, watching this and seeing that, okay, primarily this is going to be about a white boy killing black people. You know what I'm saying? And so you could look at it from that aspect. But I told her, I go, yes, I could see that, and this is disturbing to see, and you have that other angle coming at it. I get it. That is, to watch that's a little fucked up, so I get you. But look at it this way. It's not going to help, but I try to rationalize to a degree on what you're watching. I'm like, the reason he did this to these people was this is not a hate crime. He wanted to keep them. He was sexually attracted to these black men above everything else he was sexually attracted to. The reason he was doing this was to preserve them because he wanted them to stay with him in essence. It wasn't hatred. It was a depraved fucking, loneliness, love, fucked up thing that was going on in his head. So he's not killing them because they're black because he has anger towards them. You know what I mean? It's because that's what he happened to be into. But that's, but bottom line is she was uncomfortable. So if she's getting uncomfortable and saying, I don't know if I can stick with it, she's never said that about a Ryan Murphy thing. So I could see normies watching it and getting frustrated.
Oh, it's very unsettling. It's very difficult. So you're right. I agree. I mean, we're a bit used to it, but once it becomes real life, even though this is a fictional, well, it's fiction, or I guess depicting,
right?
It's not fiction. But I'm just saying it's still an entertainment piece. It's still created. It's still acted,
right?
And so it's just based on a true story. But because of that factor is, I guess, why it hits home so well. Now, if this was just a fictional piece, it still would have had almost as much weight because of how well it was made. And this is where the credit goes into the performances, the lighting,
Yeah.
the soundtrack.
Right.
That soundtrack is what helps make it so freaking unsettling as well.
Of course, yeah.
But of course, you've got the weight of it being real. And just knowing that just adds that much more to the heaviness of the whole piece, and why it's probably so hard to digest. Wow, that was a bad choice of. I didn't even mean to use that.
Awesome. Well, do you think that he was?
Don't forget, I told my wife this too. I'm like, it's weird because I'm so horrified about it, and it makes me so upset about all those, like even the cards want to get oh wait, you haven't. I won't say anything because I'm going to spoil stuff without even realizing I'm spoiling anything because you haven't watched the whole thing. But just from a parody thing, I never thought anything of it back when I was younger. Hell, I made a sketch comedy piece that I've done twice because I did it initially, which is on YouTube now, and then we redid it for the sketch show called Dahmer's Kitchen.
Oh wow. Nice.
About following Chef Jeffrey Dahmer.
Nice.
And he shows you how to make his version of French fries, Italian pizza, and everything else. And you could just, obviously, it doesn't take a genius to know where this comedy is going and where this level is going. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, only now did I feel like, wow, that's in bad taste, man. These things just write itself.
Yes. I love it. That's
sorry. But
hey.
That's it.
But still,
that's it.
And it would be in bad taste. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Fucking Italian.
And those were the jokes. Those were really the jokes in the sketch piece as well. But like again, like anything, you can make fun. Should be able to make fun of anything. But my God, I'll definitely say that I feel there's more guilt felt now than when I was making it back in the day, because back in the day I was younger and just more carefree and just thinking, hey, life's a joke and just why not? But you don't think of like who you could be offending with it as well.
Then you got the Karens and the White Knights that are probably out there complaining about saying, how are you celebrating? What about the families and people? This is horrible things have happened to them. How do you think that their families feel that they're being glamorized here and everything else and shit like that? I'm like, you know what? This is what I got to say about that. It's not their fault that they happen to be killed by a serial killer that had so much interest. Now, would you have rather it been, your daughter went to go get fucking gas at the gas station and some punk came up behind her, robbed her, fucking grabbed her, took her somewhere, raped her, and fucking bulleted her in her head and she's dead. And now no one's ever going to know the story. But your daughter's still dead. It's not changing a damn thing. Or your daughter happened to be one of the unfortunate victims of a serial killer who became famous, infamous, if you will, because of what happened. You have to expect it to happen when
Can I choose neither option?
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, not that you want it to happen. I'm just saying it's going to
option
happen.
C?
Bottom line is this: it's gonna your child just so happened to be killed, or your relative, or whatever, by somebody who became famous for killing them amongst other people. Now, if they took your child and put them in a situation like a fictional, like, Mary Jones, let's say, was killed by fucking Ted Bundy. Now, if they put a Mary Jones in the Ted Bundy thing and they spoofed her and did something else and, they gave her like another type of angle or something, and then I could see a complaint. But as long as they're doing it, by the facts, this is what happened. I just don't understand. I'm not saying not to be sensitive about it. Yes, and I wouldn't watch it. I'd be mad. Why are they showing the killer of my child on TV? Mm-hmm. I understand the anger but I do think, being a person of sound mind, you should be able to understand why. I just don't. And here's the worst part: other people, it's not even their battle to fight. I'm going to say, that's what I said, some White Knights are going to come in and say, or Karens or whatever they are, come out and say, this is wrong.
They are, and they have that, and that argument can exist for a lot of other versions that they are out there of serial killer, whether it's just biographies or whatever it may be. This actually checks the big check mark of showing the other side.
Good. They should.
going into that. That's all I'll say. And that's what elevates it. And see, the more I talk about it, the more I'm willing to let these little nitpicky things go. But I just feel like the epilogue portion of the last 2 episodes, I think, could have been condensed. It could still have been 10 episodes. Maybe just something to be condensed a little bit. And it's that's one little aspect, but I'm almost even willing to forgive that. And then just the way I believe it's episode 10 starts, like I said earlier, not again, sound like a broken record. I like to repeat myself. It's just the way I am. Those are my 2 big nitpicks, but those 2 things are why I will take it away from a perfect score. My dear God, but
you'll be okay.
So very close. I hopefully will be okay.
Okay. Now how about this? Let's say me today. All right. We finish this recording. I go to and pick up a pizza. And I go to the place, and there just so happens to be a serial killer in this area who's just started killing. Maybe I'm his 2nd or 3rd victim, but nobody knows about the other 2 yet. And I go to pick up this pizza. Something happens. Somehow I'm driving home, and I see 2 girls with a flat tire or out of gas or something. Something happens, and my dumbass gets
with
lured.
1 cup?
Yes. I get lured in, and I get fucking beheaded. And they find my fucking head on the road a couple blocks away. Okay? Now, if they make a movie about this killer, not only do I not want to fucking not be on it, I want to be fucking featured. I want to say, Dave Zendano, here he was, and here's the ironic part. He was doing a podcast that morning talking about Jeffrey
called
Dahmer.
Exploding Heads.
And called Exploding Heads. Put it the fuck out there. Yeah. I want my likeness on there. They could put my fucking head on there if they wanted to. I would even, I can't sign it because I'm dead. But I'm saying, and I've told my family this.
Can I put it on my mantle?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. A man is dead. I don't.
Mantle.
Number one, I don't believe in pride, so I don't give a fuck what happens to me when my body's dead. Yeah. I do not give, and I wish everybody else was fucking not as uptight as they are. See, me, I don't give a fuck. If I get killed, I want my story to be on this fucking thing. I want to see this guy went to a pizza shop. He was dead. He was coming back. This happened. They fucking cut his head off. If there's a Netflix special in fucking 20 years about fucking Joe Blow, who fucking killed me, who became a famous serial killer, I want to be a part of it. At least I'll be remembered for something. And then maybe they'll check out the podcast. I don't know.
Here comes old Parker walking down the street on a sandwich in one hand and a severed head in the other. Remember Intruder? I fuck that up every time I do it, but I'm going to keep doing it.
I love it.
Here comes old Parker.
Yeah, it's going to be Dave Parker one day. It's going to be him.
Here comes Dave Parker.
Here comes Parker.
Oh, the Dave Z.
With a Blu-ray with a Blu-ray of fucking Cannibal Holocaust in one hand and Dave Z's head in another. At a convention.
Here comes Dave Parker.
Yep, fucking beheaded. Killed me, and fucking Dave grabbed the head.
Screaming toilet shutout. If you haven't, not that he needs any more followers. This guy, he's Mr. Popular with a dick down to his ankles. Dave Parker, everybody.
With a dick down to his ankles. Oh, he loves that. That's fucking great. Whew. So yeah. Now, how about the Munsters? Did you watch the fucking Munsters or no?
No, we don't have it in Canada. It never came to Netflix Canada. I was shocked. I just assumed it was a no-brainer that this was like a fairly, when I say fairly big release, just based on how it's exploded up on everybody's news feed. I just took it for granted that it would be on Netflix Canada. It's not. So I either have to buy it, which I'm not going to without watching it, or bootleg it, or I wait till it comes out to Netflix Canada, but I'm not.
Okay.
I'm assuming I can rent it, but I was like, well, if it's on Netflix, I'm just going to watch it on Netflix, the thing I subscribe to. Like I said, I could probably VPN in and watch the American version. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't give a fuck. I don't understand why there's a problem with that either.
Well, there is, of course, it's not fucking wrong because somebody here said it's wrong because fuck you. It's more on that later when we talk about They Live, because there's so little to talk about in They Live that I just might go on a fucking tangent half the movie and say fucking these guys are onto something and fuck everybody else. But anyway, the thing is this. I'm not watching that fucking movie. I'm not watching the Monsters. I have no desire to watch this fucking movie. It's like I said online. It's if 100 people, if somebody says here's a new cup of coffee from Tim's. It's the brand new pumpkin spice for October. Here you go. Put it on the table. Come on up. Everybody can. We made a jug of it for fucking free. Everybody can have it. Come on in and fucking have a sample of this coffee. If I go in that line and I'm number 100 and 99 people go ahead of me and every one of them takes a fucking sip of that thing, of a shot glass, whatever it is, walks away and says, ugh, tastes like fucking dog shit. It fucking stinks. It's terrible. If 99 people in a row do that, why the fuck am I? Who am I if I'm going to go and say, I want to try that too?
Maybe you like dog shit. Pumpkin spice dog shit.
Bottom line is, I'm willing to take the gamble that I'm probably not going to like it either. And if I miss out on the greatest thing in my life, I don't think that's going.
Well, I wasn't a Munsters fan. I think
me neither.
I think that's where his love and the people that seem to like this or really enjoyed it seem to be Munsters fans or diehard Munsters.
I saw some.
I know who they are.
I've
never
watched it.
Really, other than a clip here and there. Yeah, like back in the day, maybe caught an episode. And I remember it being one of those type of comedies that I never laughed at, even back when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So then maybe he got it right. But again, I will check it out because I love Rob Zombie films. For the most part, I've loved almost all of his movies, or at least liked all of his movies. And again, even the ones that I've warmed up to. And those are actually the two Halloween ones.
Same here.
I still warmed up to both of them. I like both of them now. So it's funny, and I don't have a problem with 31. I didn't have a problem with three from Hell. Like I actually liked both of those. So I'm a Rob Zombie apologist, as I've said on this show before. But the Munsters is not made for me. I don't think I will like it. So I'm not going to go. And the preview definitely didn't win me over. So I'm not in a rush to see it. But I will eventually check it out because I like Rob Zombie and I like his movies. But it did seem like everybody's going out of their way to hate it and not realizing maybe this is just not made for you. And I get it. Like at the end of the day, if you're going to make a movie, don't you want it to be adored by more than just a core group? Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he doesn't give a shit.
I don't think he don't give a shit. He's having fun. He's made enough money. He's maybe trying to make some more here or whatever. He's doing what his heart wants to do now at this point. I also think he kind of got soured by studios over the years because every movie, even the movies that he likes that he's done, he still complains about the studio interference and things like that and how this was changed on him and different things. So I just honestly think that he's probably soured to the whole thing, and now he just makes movies that he wants to make for fun because he can. That's all he's going to be as a director from now on. And he's going to put on a movie when he wants. I'm not saying he's never going to make music, but don't get me wrong. He might make music. But, I mean, he might just continue to make movies.
People seem to love his music. It's crazy because I think he's probably soured because of the fan reception, too, because the fans are fucking horrible, man.
Well, they are, but he also has his fanboys, too. But I hear you. But that's just the way things are these days. Like, it's like movies that come out now are just subject to so much more criticism than they were back then. It's like what we were talking about earlier. It's just, Terrifier and Halloween Kills and things like that. That maybe if these movies had come out in the 80s or a different time, they probably would not be critiqued nearly as much as they are now.
Well, you got instant criticism because you could put your thought of the thing out right away. Like without even I even did it with James Wan's movie last year. Why am I forgetting the name?
Malignant.
Malignant. Thank you. When I was like, remember I texted you? I'm like, half an hour in or whatever. Oh no, I put it on the group page even. I'm like, am I being punked?
Amazing.
Like it's like instantaneous dislike or instantaneous love. You could do it constantly with everything. And everybody's got a voice. Everybody. So someone that you wouldn't even give 2 minutes of your time to. Now you might come across a post that because you don't know who they are, and you're like, you stumble upon it, but like, why is that opinion have any weight whatsoever?
That's why the internet is unhealthy.
The only opinion that should matter is your own or your circle of people that you sort of trust and listen to. And that's the great thing about it is everybody still will have a different opinion or should have a different opinion, or like you might still love something, but there will be varying degrees of why or what you've taken away from it. and whatever else. But now it's just everybody's got a voice, and we got to listen. And everybody, this is why I say, like, I've always joked when people say, well, it can't be wrong. It's an opinion. I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe we should reevaluate that. Because there's some fucking crazy fucking people in there.
Oh, wait a minute.
I mean, yeah, I think their opinion is damn wrong.
Opinions can be wrong. How can they not? Okay,
the argument is it's an opinion, so it's someone's belief or interpretation, which again could be wrong. I don't understand how you can say it's not, even if it's their belief or their interpretation or their thought or feeling on it. It's like, well, it's not wrong. It's my thought on that thing. I'm like, well, yeah, it's fucking wrong.
But first of all, right and wrong exist. There are basic parameters of life. There are basic fucking things that as a society and as a human being, you should know right from wrong. So if someone says raping children is good for them, that's obviously your opinion's wrong. Adolf Hitler was actually a good guy. Your opinion is fucking wrong. So to me, opinions can be wrong. So if your opinion can be wrong on a viewpoint about something that isn't a movie, why can't it be wrong about a movie? Who the fuck are we to say, well, because it's a piece of art, it's different? I don't know. Is that fair to say? I don't know.
I think it's on anything. I think it's just someone saying, I think this. I'm like, well, yeah, but you could just say that. You could just throw anything out there. And I'm just, well, that's absolutely crazy. I guess they're saying your argument back to it can be you don't agree, but it's not wrong.
People are too fucking pompous. You can be wrong. Stop all the self-importance bullshit.
You just don't agree with my stance.
Come on, you got to dance around fucking right and wrong.
Go fuck yourself.
Right. I mean, I know opinions are opinions. I get, but opinions to me are more about things that can't be disproven, like your taste in something, a movie or a I get that to a degree, but you can be wrong. Well, okay. In my opinion, 9/11 didn't happen. It's just an illusion. Those towers are really there. It's like a David Copperfield fucking type trick. You know how you made the Statue of Liberty disappear? Yeah. Those two towers are still there. Of course they're fucking wrong. If somebody was to say that is a wrong opinion. I don't give a fuck what you tell me.
And this is the problem. I think by saying that you can't be wrong anymore, we're always dancing. Everybody's got to have a voice. Everybody wins. Everybody goes home with a medal. I think it's part of that whole evolution of what we become. Some of it good, and some of it like, oh God, thank God I'm not going to be here forever, because you know what I mean. Let me just
daughter.
enjoy my life. Yeah. Like watch my kids grow up, hopefully have some grandkids, and then get the fuck out of Dodge.
Right. I feel you, man, because nothing's getting better. I mean, sports are worse. Yeah. Everything's fucking worse now. It sounds negative, but the good thing is this. I'm not one of these people that's watching everything current, like football and wrestling and everything else and the news, and say, oh, everything sucks now, TV, cereal, food, everything's shitty, right? I wish it was like, here's the thing. Well, because that is true, though. Cereal now compared to cereal back. Everything's different because as soon as they took sugar out and started doing that high fructose corn syrup, nothing tastes the same anymore. It tastes fucking shitty now. It's a fact. The portions are smaller. The prices are higher. You could sit all day and complain about all this shit. Now, the thing is this. Or, yes, I don't like this stuff, but I can still go back.
Correct. You could sit all day and complain about this shit. I'll just eat the cereal and get on with my day.
Well, that's fine. That is good. Right on. Do it.
Wrong.
I mean, if you can tolerate it, by all means. I'm not doing it. But it's like, but I can still see all this other stuff now that I don't like, right? And I can go back and watch the old stuff like I do now with the wrestling. You know what I mean? I can live it again. I can watch old commercials. On Thanksgiving Day, I don't watch the Thanksgiving shit now. I watch fucking something from the 80s. When the world that I enjoyed back then, the way things were. We have the luxury of having all these things. You can go back and do it. You don't have to be mad about it because you still have your past. You still have old movies, at least movies for the most part, horror movies at least. There are still great horror movies. We're in another great time for horror, luckily. So I'm glad for that. Maybe nothing else is good.
And I've got a box of Frosted Flakes from 1984 still in the cupboard, sealed.
Sell that shit. Sell that on the eBay. Make a lot of money there.
Yeah.
Frosted Flakes.
I don't know if you're allowed to. Frosted Flakes from 1984. Circa
it's sealed.
1984.
If it's sealed, you can sell it. Yeah, if it's sealed, you can sell it.
Sealed. Shrink wrapped. They didn't even shrink wrap. but mine's shrink wrapped.
Imagine that. You can buy it all. They got Flutie Flakes fucking at places out here still that were made in the 90s or whatever the fuck Doug Flutie was playing for the Bills. You know?
Flutie Flakes. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Oh yeah, now they got I don't even go down this thing. Either way, things may be bad now. Here's the problem. Everybody has a voice. Like you said, here's the worst part. Okay, everybody has a voice and no one's doing anything good.
Us included.
Yeah, but you know what? I think our show happens to be good and entertaining enough.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't do it if I didn't think it was good. And again, some of you think it's good too. And there will be some people that listen that don't like it. And whatever, and turn us off after a minute. And that's okay. They're wrong.
They are wrong. Back to that.
And all of you are right.
Your opinion? Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Everyone listening, you're right. I'll tell you right now. That's it.
You've been validated.
But here's the thing. Everybody. Like, I have so much respect now for people that do a YouTube channel or a podcast that I can actually tolerate, because the vast majority, I just cannot. I am in such a fucking rut right now with everything that I am actually listening to podcasts. I never thought I'd say this. I'm listening to podcasts at regular speed. I'm not listening to one and a half anymore because I don't have anything to catch up to.
Times have changed. Well, what is it exactly that you're with them? Is it the hosts? Is it the jibber jabber? Is it the production quality? What is it? Can you narrow it down, like, of what is turning you off recently?
I guess all of the above. I can only listen to like maybe less than 10 horror podcasts. Most of them, nobody's bringing anything anymore. No one's bringing anything different. It's just, I can't explain it. It doesn't do anything for me when I listen. Like, I don't get engaged by these people. I get bored by what they're saying.
Besides the Dark Discussions podcast, what other ones are you talking about? I'm sorry, Eric Webster. I'm sorry I had to throw that out there.
But there are just so few I can listen to now. Really, people are just, everything's just boring now. No one's bringing any entertainment value to anything. Everybody, when they talk, they're just, I don't know. And then they got to get into political discussions half the time. Then they got to have other stuff.
We've fallen into that trap. I know we dance, but I think at least we have fun with it. I hope we do. But I mean, if someone's rolling their eyes, I expect someone's got to be rolling their eyes, because we are supposed to be a horror podcast with it's in the name. Dave made sure it was in the name, because when it was going to be Exploding Heads horror podcast, then he said, well, actually it was movie that you wanted. He said, we got to have horror movie. So that's why the old logo was Exploding Heads Horror Podcast. I think we introduced it, and then we specified it was a horror movie podcast, and then everything changed.
Yeah, we took right off with movie, didn't we?
Changed.
Boom. Everything blew up. Excuse me. And speaking of taking off and blowing up, we got, it's October. We got a lot of submissions in. I think we have it's going to end up being between 34, 36 submissions for the top 200 show, which is same as last time, same ballpark. It was slow to start. I was like, oh man, this sucks. But I want to thank you guys listening, because the patrons really came in strong this time. Last time it was more of a half and half between podcast hosts and patrons. This time it was overwhelmingly patrons, and maybe only 5 or 6 podcast hosts that
fuck
that's it.
Fuck those podcasts, except for the ones that are patrons and as well. That
friends of
negates
ours.
The fuck you and friends of the show. I know they're friends of the show. That's half the fun of the fuck you.
Right.
What was I going to say now? Because it's not nearly as important as that. I still have to give you my fucking list.
No, do it. It's okay. Do it. I'm behind though. I mean, that's why I wanted him in now early, because I know how long this is going to take me. And every day I got to look, and I try to do one movie. It's some work, let me tell you. So we'll see though. It'll come out in the wash. It's okay.
I know. I remembered what I was going to say. I know you. Well, maybe I do this, and maybe I'm making it seem like I never do this. But you're usually the one that brings up, a pet peeve like whelp or whatever it may be, and change my mind, that type of thing. I've got one.
Oh boy, let's hear.
And I'm so glad we're not using it on the show. Shocktober.
Oh.
Shocktober. I fucking hate it. I understand it's a great play on words, and it was maybe 2 years ago, whatever it may be. And it's okay if you're trying to sell Blu-rays or 4Ks on Scream or Shout Factory website, but everybody's Shocktober now. Can it just be fucking October? It's
Right.
already our month. It's already Halloween month. It's already horror fan month.
Oh boy.
Why do we need to change this name? Uh-oh, you
Hold
have
on.
to take a shit?
No, the dog's
What's the
down
matter?
here. She might try to take a shit.
Uh-oh.
I gotta stop
There
her.
we go.
Get
All right,
upstairs, you bitch.
Dave's
Get
gonna
upstairs. Go on.
wrangle
Get
that
up.
shit
Go,
reader
go.
in.
Get out of here.
But yeah,
Go.
enough with the Shocktober.
Get upstairs. Go. Well, this asshole dog. So seriously. Well, hold on.
I love it. Oh,
Hold on. Let me explain.
okay.
Now I have to set my alarm 10 minutes earlier every morning and walk her before I go to work. Otherwise, she shits all. This dog protests. You let her in the backyard like any other dog to go take a shit in the morning, she will hold it. She will not go. She'll pee. She'll come in the house. I'll go to work. I'll come home. There'll be shit all over the basement floor. She refuses to fuck. She is protesting.
Sorry.
She's a fucking asshole. She wants to walk.
Protested.
Now, she's protesting backyard shitting. You know, she wants to walk. She wants to have this walk. So now, okay. Now, when Irene was home, she got to see it for herself finally. She basically, the dog pees and tries to come back. Irene yells, go potty, go back out. And she'll run at the dog, and the dog will run out and do it. Me, the fucking dog, no matter what I do, she'll go back out there. She'll walk in a big circle. She'll take 2 more minutes, and she still won't pee. Or shit. Then I got to send her. This is the first time I did it today because I didn't have time to walk her. And I'm not. Before work, I set the alarm early and do it. Now, this fucking asshole, she won't go fucking shit in the backyard. I've talked to everybody else. Nobody else has this problem but me and this dog. So now, and this is what I know is going to happen. See? She wouldn't shit. And I didn't walk her. So guess what? She's going to have to. She has to go.
What if
She won't.
shits on your pillow.
Bottom line is, if she comes down in this basement where she loves to shit for some reason, I'm not letting her in this basement. But I can't close the door because the kitty litter's down here. And now what happens when the dog goes down here? The cats don't like it and they want to cover the scent, so they'll pee on it. Something else will happen. Dude, it's a non-stop, never everything. And the answer to every problem in this house is the fucking dog. When this dog dies, I'm having a fucking parade. A fucking parade. I'm going to be with a fucking high stepping and everything. I'm telling you, I'm so sorry. Sad. Yeah, but if you had to deal with this, you'd be pretty fucking pissed off.
Oh, I know. I gotta get my cat. Decides like, oh, there's a little too much shit in this box. So he goes and makes this. I'm like,
well,
this box. I clean
that's
it out.
On you. Clean the fucking shit out.
You always say that. Yeah, well, fuck the cat.
Why fuck the cat? The cat's
dog and fuck the cat.
No, the cat's clean. The cat's not gonna step in shit. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Cats are clean animals. They're fucking not gonna go in that.
For the most part. Fucking cat. I love my cat too. That's what
I'm saying. I love all my cats. And the dog is okay, but now she's fucking worse. Every year she's worse. It's so bad. Here's what's really fucked up about my life. I'm the only person that has to take like the cat food, right? Now the cat food has to be high up. Because the fucking motherfucking dog, if it's anywhere within fucking sight, the dog will get to the cat food. So the cat food all has to be high up on the kitchen counter and on the dining room table, which I don't want my cats on these places. But I have no choice but to put it there. Because anywhere else the dog can get to it. So, now listen to this one. Lucky, because he's deaf and because he has equilibrium issues, is the only type of cat that can't jump like regular cats up onto the counter. He needs to do something. He needs to use something else to get the height, and then he's trepidatious, but he'll make the jump. So I have to make alterations so that Lucky can get where he needs to be to get the food. Well, guess what? When I make those alterations for Lucky, this fucking little satanic dog finds a way to use that to her advantage, and she jumps on the fucking dining room table. And no matter what I've done, all because I have this dog and this particular cat, I have this fucking problem between the two of them. All the time with everything I do, and there's just no solution. Like now, there's no solution. If I didn't have time to walk her, I just didn't. I went out and I got my Tims instead. Sorry, but I mean it's like, but she doesn't listen to me. But she doesn't listen. If Irene's here, she'll yell 2 or 3 times. So make her go back out and go potty, and she'll go. She'll take a shit. But for me, she refuses. I even let her stay outside while I took a shower. I closed the gate, wouldn't let her back on the deck. Figuring, okay, maybe she'll change her mind and she'll go out there and shit. She still didn't. She has the resolve of fucking Gandhi, this fucking dog. I cannot get her to fucking do what she doesn't want to do. And again, get me out. So now, like I'm saying, if she walks down those stairs, I'm chasing her the fuck out. I'll tell you right now. Damn it! What were you? I had something really cool I wanted to say about fuck. What were we talking about when she came downstairs?
Oh, I think we're talking about Shocktober.
Oh, okay, okay. Sick of Shocktober. What about spooky season? Have you got sick of that yet?
Uh, it's stupid.
Yeah, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of spooky
two
season. The
feet,
way
2 feet firmly planted and stupid. I don't really like any of that. It's just fucking October. It's fall. It's what we've always had and what we've always loved. Why do we have to change it to something even more horror? It's already there. Maybe can we change March and April into something like that? I'll be over. Okay, that's like half the year away. I'm okay with that.
Well, yeah.
Fuck October. It's Halloween. Go fuck yourself. Spooky season. Shocktober. Horror. What is it? Octoberine.
Oh, stop
October.
Oh, stop it.
All these. It's fucking people. It's marketing. It starts with the marketing, and then people latch onto it and they use it. Oh, I like that. Stealing. And I want to punch every one of them in the face.
What about everybody doing 31 Days of Horror now? I
don't mind that. I told you, I've mentioned this.
Right.
I made a joke about this a few years ago. I watch what I watch when I want to watch it. Yeah. And maybe I'll post it, maybe I won't post it. But I've got no problem with people doing it. Do it.
I don't have a problem with it.
I don't care. I like the fact. I like when some people come up with themes. I think Jamie and Brian have a theme, and some of the other, some of our listeners, Jim K has one. A few of them do.
Yes.
It's fine. You started. One of the movies we're talking about, I think you started as your first watch was Pumpkinhead, and so be it. I mean,
and that was fine. One of them because I watched 2 yesterday. I could have put 2, but Pumpkinhead was the one I decided to celebrate because it's an October movie. But the thing is, everything I'm going to watch in October is going to have to be podcast related. It's either going to be 2022, it's either going to be 1980, or it's going to be something I have to watch for this podcast or another. So honestly, there's very few things that I'm going to watch that I'm just like, well, this is an October view. So. Again, I don't have fucking 10 hours free a day like everyone else seems to have. And by the way, if you have a job where you can watch movies at your job, salute. Good on you.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome. I wish I was one of them people.
Absolutely. Why don't we, do you want to jump into one? Are we too early to jump into it? Is there anything else you have to fucking say?
No. What do I have to say?
Not in a bad way. I didn't mean it. It came out so negative and hateful. I didn't mean it like that.
No. I think let me bring
up. I kind of just casually mentioned fucking Pumpkinhead. So why don't we bring up? Why don't I bring it up? Being ever so slow, as I always say every time I'm trying to get this computer up and running. Never an issue. Never an issue any other day in my life. We're recording the show, and it's like IMDb is like a snail's pace.
That's funny. Well,
first off, I didn't even realize there was 4 Pumpkinheads. I really didn't. I thought there was 2.
You remember they made a 3rd and a 4th? I think they were made for TV, kind of like Return of the Living Dead. Similar type thing. I could be wrong about that part.
Only when I brought it up and I saw that they're there, it kind of, I guess I did kind of remember in the background, but if you were to tell me how many Pumpkinheads there were, I would have said 2 before that. So here we go, guys. Pumpkinhead 1988. After a tragic accident, a man conjures up a towering, vengeful demon called Pumpkinhead to destroy a group of unsuspecting teenagers. Directed by Stan Winston and starring, of course, Lance motherfucking Henriksen.
Indeed. I'll tell you something. 1988. What an interesting year when we look at everything. It's a lot of crazy sequels, but it's the 80s, and we still have movies like this and the other one coming out. Just movies of independent thought, movies of different things, and an actual monster movie in 1980. And I remember when Pumpkinhead was coming out. This one came with a lot of fanfare leading up to it. They were covering it in Fangoria and everything else. And I remember
covers of the magazine.
Being excited about this, and saying, "Oh wow, look at this! Look at the practical effects. This is an actual movie monster." Which when's the last time we actually saw like a movie monster? We had all those little ones. We had the Gremlins, and we had this, and that. We had different like groups of them in the 80s. But
we talked about the Gate last episode as well.
Right, but an actual monster like this, I'm trying to think about.
Well, here,
What did we
you know,
have in that? The Blob's a
well,
remake. It's not really a monster, is it? I mean, the Fly kind.
all the ones that we've talked about have been remakes, to be honest. You had the Thing remake, the Fly remake, the Blob remake. It's sort of like, the Gate was a standalone, and the Pumpkinhead was its own creation as well. So I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, we had werewolves, but again, they're based off the Wolfman and old school horror. And the greatest part of this is the monster design. I'm not saying, not to take away from anything else, like the monster design is phenomenal. Pumpkinhead is a fantastic monster and a fantastic creation. Lance Henriksen, he used to be my favorite actor. I say used to because I don't know if I really have a favorite actor anymore, but I used to love everything Bruce Campbell and Lance Henriksen were in. And Lance Henriksen is fantastic in this as well. He just sells it. He's just got a great aura to him, which is why he's the popularity has I'd say he's gotten into A-level roles, but I always think that no one knows his name except for genre fans, I think.
Right. I agree.
You know what I mean? I think it's like a Tom Atkins. Like in certain groups, no question, they've heard of him. And some people would know him to see him, but they might not be able to name him. But in our groups, Lance Henriksen is a well-established name for sure.
Oh, yeah. Rightfully so. I mean, he's great. And without him in this movie, his performance definitely carries it in many ways. And the emotion of it, it's a heavy fucking movie, man. I mean, I'll say this, though. Even though it's a heavy movie, the same thing happens to me every time I watch this movie. I love the beginning. I love the stuff of the father and the son. When the teens come up and they do the dirt bike stuff and all that, up until the death of the kid, I all enjoy this stuff, and then something happens every time when they just focus on the teenagers. I check out for that 20 minutes, and then I come back after he visits the witch, and then Pumpkinhead comes out.
I'm so glad. I was so worried you're going to say this. I've had this problem every time I've watched the movie, and I'm like, maybe this is going to be. I don't love this movie. I like it. It's a good movie, but I don't love it, and I want to love it. Because of everything I just mentioned earlier, the monster design, the fact it's a monster movie, like I mentioned it last episode, it's trying to do something different, and I love Lance Henriksen, and I think there's some great atmosphere in the movie, but yet I don't love the movie. I've just always liked it. It's good.
I do love the movie.
With that. Oh, you love it.
Let me explain. I love the movie because of how strong the 1 hour is that I'm into. It way overpowers the 24 minutes I get of kind of checking. And then I'm not saying that's a terrible 24 minutes or anything like that. I'm not saying it's terrible. It's not bad at all. I somehow just check out a little bit. And
from an hour and 26-minute movie, you shouldn't have to check out. So that's what I'm saying. I agree with you. Like we were talking about Terrifier being 2 hours and 20 minutes, and other than a couple of nitpicks, I never checked out of that. Whereas you're right. Somehow and it's always happened. And I don't know what it is either, but it's funny that we're both on that. I guess they're less interesting. That's all.
But it's an interesting story. That's the weird part, is that there's intrigue in the writing to what's happening with the kids. He kills the kid. He has alcohol on him. He wants to run away. He did some time. He locks those other two guys in the freaking. It isn't like boring things. On paper, it looks like interesting conflict among the kids. But for some reason, maybe because we're so used to seeing the kids actually doing fun kid things and then picked off instead of turmoil. Maybe this is why this one's a little bit unusual. Like if you watch a slasher or a horror movie, usually the kids are kind of like carefree about what they're doing, and then they start getting picked off. Where in this movie, they're thrust into a serious situation, and we only have 5 minutes really of kids having fun driving. And that's it. After that, it's all serious business. Yeah. They don't like this one guy. He's an asshole and everything else. And he does come around later.
That's the other thing. But barely. And he's a fucking asshole. But
right. He is an asshole. You're right. And he not pushes his brother around. He's the older brother, and his younger brother just feels the need to defend him, look up to him, and, let him kind of not boss him around, but just, he's the older brother, so he has that thing going. He still somehow admires him for that reason, and he defends him and whatnot. But I think maybe that's what it is, that because it's turmoil with them, which doesn't really matter. Like, you're basically waiting to see Pumpkinhead. I think that's what it is, because you get the intro and you know this beast exists. What's going on here? Then you get this heartwarming story of the father and the son, and I got to give props to the score, because the score is great. The music always fits the fucking mood of the scene. It's done really well. It's almost like I feel, I'm all over the place, but this almost feels like it could have been, if they cut 20 minutes out of it, this could have been like a Tales from the Crypt, like a real good short for an anthology, and kept it basic. This is what happened. Maybe trim some fat a little bit and had it like an hour and 2 minutes long. And
it's
maybe,
a basic revenge movie, but
yeah.
you don't necessarily need more to it per se. But then we've been argued that we've fallen out of a movie that's an hour and 26 minutes. But again, fallen out for a little chunk. So I see what you're saying.
It's a morality thing.
Yeah.
For him too. And that's what's great about the movie, that extra thing that gets thrown in. Just that as soon as he makes that deal, as soon as he does his thing, and she says it later, the witch, she's like, you think it was going to be easy, Ed Harley? You know what I mean? She has to, because he witnesses everything that's happened. Now he feels guilty because innocent teens are getting killed. There was one kid that did wrong. You know what I mean? And now he's starting to feel, and now again, these are still teenagers, young adults, whatever. They have parents too. You just lost your child. And I get the fucking, as soon as that happened, with everything that's going on there, I 100% understand the anger, the sadness, the frustration, the need for revenge. If someone did that to your child, you lost your fucking child, especially it's you and this kid against the world. It's just the two of you here, Harley and son. You know what I mean? That's all he has. And not that it makes a difference. You love your child that much no matter what, if it's you have one, two, a wife or not. I'm just saying, but you put it in, you just add that element where it's just these two against the world doing their thing. And then you lose them at such a young age, and it's so fucking heartbreaking. The anger, I don't blame him a bit for doing what he does. That just speaks on human emotion. And there you go. Yeah. It's 7 deadly sins, right? And this is one of them.
In the heat of the moment, you do it, and then, but there's regret or resentment, or regret later. Anyway,
so it's morality.
What is the connection? What is? Sorry, I wanted to start you with this. What's the connection tonight?
Yeah, Buck Flowers. That's what it is. Amazing.
He's in both movies.
Amazing,
we actually have a connection. I'm like, awesome. Like, this is a great connection. And
crazy.
It's funny. I totally forgot. I don't know how I forgot that, but I forgot until I popped it on. I'm like, holy shit, yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Well, I've only seen They Live once before. This was the second time,
really?
So I had no idea.
Okay.
And we'll get into that later, yeah. But so once before I saw it, so I didn't remember that he appears. I'm like, oh, he's the typical George Buck Flowers role. But then later on he changes and he's into something else. I'm like, okay. Then I put this on, and then boom, he pops up in a typical role again, where he's that kind of a guy. It's fucking great, man. But yeah, I was like, look at this, 2 movies, same year, again, another connection. Yeah, pretty cool.
And cool. It's funny because we should love this, because really it does just kind of play out like a slasher in a sense. You get the setup. And then it's like
Friday.
It becomes like a kill, like, they get stalked and whatever. And but of course, then it's still realistic. I know it's a monster movie, but you get that, teenagers get killed in the woods.
But Friday type kills, good kills from Pumpkinhead. That's what was always the thing about this movie: the design of the character of Pumpkinhead, design of the creature, and the kills were fucking good kills. They were like slasher movie kills. That's what was always great about it. They were vicious. I remember being a kid saying, wow, and really being into that because he was vicious and because of the setup and everything. I was like, wow, man.
Well, you see Pumpkinhead holding a gun, you're like, he's not going to shoot the guy, is he? Nope.
No. That's a Friday the 13th kill. That's Jason with what's his name with Paul's balls.
Yeah, Paul's balls. When he hawks the guy over in part 6. Or even Michael Myers, where he sticks the shotgun through the girl through the door in part 4. Your favorite. So no, there's some great kills, and again, great lighting and atmosphere for sure. But it was I think hyped up to be something bigger with Stan Winston directing and his creature design. And I think for the most part, it delivered. Like I said, I don't dislike the movie, but it's good. But I never loved it. I never loved it. Every time I watch it, I'm like, it's good. It's good. I enjoy this. it's like thankfully short. I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's like outdone, but like I still have that problem of falling out. The character does have a redemption moment, maybe too little, too late. But I do like the morality tales you're checking, or the morality aspect of it that you went into detail about. But again, from a visual standpoint, I think you'll be pleasantly satisfied with the movie if you haven't seen it before.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought it's funny in the beginning when the guy is trying to imitate Rambo, but he sounds like Rocky. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Like, so you got the right actor, but you're talking about a Rambo situation, but you're talking like Rocky. So that's kind of funny. So here's a theory. Now, the old woman, by the way, 65 pounds of fucking makeup on her. The suit that she had to wear. If you see her now, she looks like she would have been. She's that age now that she was portrayed to be in this movie. It was one of those Exorcist type. Yeah. So she had a suit on, same as Pumpkinhead and everything else. Now, but think about this. So let me ask you.
If you see her now, she'd be worse because she passed away 5 years ago. So.
What?
Sorry. Well, she died 5 years ago, the woman that played.
Oh, well, then she must have died shortly after the Scream Factory Blue came out, because that's what I watched, and it was whenever that was released, that was on the documentary on there. So it must not have been much longer. Wow, she looked healthy, too. Well, whatever. Rest in peace to her. So here's the question.
Years old.
What's that?
She was 97 when she died in December 24th, 2017.
Wow, 97. She did not look that old when I saw her in that video. Wow. Well, who knows? Maybe it was taped earlier. But here's my question. So, if you don't have the old woman, you don't have the monster. So when this old woman dies, that's the end of Pumpkinhead. Have you ever thought about that? I thought about that. I was like, well, wait a minute. So the old woman is needed. You go to the old woman, and not only do you have to go to the old woman tells you where to go. But she doesn't just say dig them up and then, vengeance is served. She says you have to bring them here. I have to do some things to them. And she does. So in other words, if there's no old woman, there's no Pumpkinhead. Makes sense, right?
It does make sense. Now, when Pumpkinhead near the end it's seemingly transforming, it's her face, correct?
Is it?
Pumpkinhead? Well, I've always seen that. When you see Pumpkinhead, he seems to have a distinct look to himself. But then in that one shot, I think they emulated her look. It's either her or Lance.
I thought it was supposed to be Lance.
Because maybe it's Lance, but it's maybe that's what it is. It's not the Pumpkinhead design that we've seen before that. That's for sure.
You're talking about when he buries him again at the end? When she buries him again at the end?
When Pumpkinhead, it's like Pumpkinhead is like laughing. I think it's after the girl is trying to set it on fire and whatnot. And I think it's like looking right at the camera, and its face looks distinctively like it looks more like whether it be the witch or Lance. I'm forgetting now. But
I don't remember that part.
It's definitely not the Pumpkinhead that is on throughout the rest of the movie.
Okay. See, I wish that maybe I was taking a note when that happened. I don't remember that part happening. Son of a bitch. I don't know. But at the end, it's definitely Lance because it has the, what do you call it on it? It has the medallion that the kid made for him. You know what I mean? Not medallion, but the necklace, if you will.
Yeah.
So, but man, I love the curse angle. I love the line when he says, "God damn you," and she says, "He already has, son. He already has." She's great. She's a great old witch. Yeah. Like Ada Holly, her fucking delivery of lines and shit. Man, I love that whole situation. Man, how about the one time he says they're explaining about it, right? He goes, "What is it?" He goes, "It's the thing." And he goes, "What thing?" He goes, "I don't know. It's the thing." That's how he was describing fucking Pumpkinhead to somebody else. It's a thing. What thing?
I'm gonna send this to you, and hopefully you can at least see it. It's not gonna necessarily. I might have to just paste it to the video version. Did that pop up for you?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, it's a little gremlin looking, actually.
So that's the close-up that they use.
Huh. I did
in one
see it.
part of the movie. So is that supposed to be the witch or Lance? I think that's supposed to be like a combination of sorts, because that's not how Pumpkinhead looks throughout the rest of the movie.
I guess I didn't notice. I guess I didn't notice that that's not how he looks. I've seen him up close many times. You know, he looks like everything from that time period, which is great. Like the great effects, like the aliens
From Beyond.
in Cocoon, or well, somewhat. But I'm talking about like the way his. Yeah, okay, From Beyond. Yeah, that too. Just like they had that look of the of effects in the 80s, the practical effects, like the faces, even a little bit of Gremlin, like, you know what I mean, where they had that good look. You know.
Holy fuck.
What?
Did we actually put From Beyond as an option in 1986? I don't know if we did, and we haven't covered that movie, did we?
Maybe we must
not
have.
Win?
We must have covered it somehow.
I think maybe we did. So many
We'll have to
fucking
go
movies,
back.
man. I can't remember. I was good at one point, and now
I think we covered it.
Because I thought we did Silent Night, Deadly Night. You're like, no, we didn't. But we used the intro music for the Christmas episode that just dropped, because I did all the retro ones. There was like 6 missing from YouTube, from like episode 21 to 26 or 20 to 26, and I had to put those all in on YouTube, so that now everything's available on YouTube. And that was one of the episodes. And I'm like, maybe that's why I thought we did the movie, because we used that music. Like Santa's watching, Santa's watching.
It's great. Yeah, that's great stuff. I think we did do it, though. I think we talked about, we had a show, Best of 86 or something. 86 a year in horror. Am I wrong? Or was that 88? I can't fucking remember. I can't
remember either. But if we didn't, that was Bizarro, but we didn't do that one. But anyway,
I think it was on.
We're just talking about that.
Yeah, but I think it was a poll. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that there was a poll and it didn't win. I'd have to go back and see. 1986. There's 85. Well, let's see here. 86. Please vote for 2. From Beyond was on there. Got 16 votes and ended up finishing in 4th place. The Flying Chopping Mall, 28 votes. The Hitcher, 18. Killer Party, 16. Tied with From Beyond at 16. So, yeah, we put it up.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
At least it was there.
Put it up. Yeah. How about that one scene with fucking when he's way up in the tree with the girl and then he drops her? Dude, that's awesome. Love that shit. Yeah. Dude, all the kills, they're fun. And you know, when she's in front of the thing and she gets grabbed and pulled up on the roof, the hand comes down and grabs her and picks her up. And when the other guy gets picked up and the girl thinks that it's the devil and all that shit, that's good stuff, man. Then you have the whole thing about Bunt, that character, how he comes around. You know, and betrays his grandfather and father and goes and helps them out. Because at first he's kind of like teasing the one kid.
Well, when he hears him screaming, right? That's when he says, I got to go help them.
I think. I can't remember. All I know is that, you know, you have a couple characters that have a turnaround. The one kid that's the asshole, does a little stuff later, lets him out and says, okay, yeah. And then this Bunt guy comes in, this kid, and he comes out and does his thing. So I think it's kind of cool, you know? I think there's a little more to this movie, little things like that. So, and then at one time, one character says, be careful. And the other character says, of course I'm going to be careful.
Yeah. I wrote that line. Yeah, that's exactly it. Of course, be careful. Of course I'm going to be careful. I'm like, that's a great line. Because why wouldn't I have been be careful? I'm going out to chase down a monster. It's a funny sort of self-reflection of like, what a stupid thing to say. Of course I'm going to be careful.
Yeah, because
I thought
people say it.
Yeah, I know.
People say be careful all the time, and everyone's like, okay, I will. But that's a better response. Yeah. Of course I'm going to be careful.
Why wouldn't I be?
I'm going to go out there and be I'm going to throw fucking caution to the wind. And whatever happens, if I die, I die. I don't know. Oh, man. I'll tell you what I do love. And this is what Lance Henriksen, this is what made him decide to do the role, was that scene when after things go down, he has his dead boy in the car, and after he makes the deal with, you know, to resurrect Pumpkinhead, when the dead boy sits up and says, what'd you do, Daddy? That shit, that's fucked up. That's scary.
Yeah, it's a creepy moment. Turns out that it's a hallucination or a dream, but I think more of a vision or whatever, right. but effectively done. That kid is adorable too.
Yeah, he's great.
I kind of wish the editing was done a little bit differently, because it looks like he just got kind of slightly pushed aside by the motorcycle.
I agree.
As it brushed by him, and it just doesn't seem like it could be fatal. Like,
Right.
I mean, and maybe we don't necessarily need to see the motorcycle come down and crush down on the kid's
Still,
head,
I know
but
what you're saying.
something more, and maybe they're trying to be tasteful with it, but they should have just not shown it then. Maybe shown a reaction shot
Yeah,
instead.
like a slow-mo thing, and one of the girls stepping back and putting her arms up and going, ah, like a slow-mo reaction. Yeah, dude.
Exactly. Yeah, and
Totally.
they
It would have worked
splattered kids' blood. But
or that on
yeah,
their face. Like,
yeah, exactly.
you know what I mean? Yeah, that would have been something. I agree. I thought
Something.
that every time. I'm glad you said that. Every time I think that, but that doesn't. Even the first time I saw it, I didn't think he was gonna die. I just thought maybe he was gonna be
Yeah.
at worst like fucking maybe crippled or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? Go to the. I didn't think it was death the first time I saw it. I can tell you that
But
much.
that is like any
So
other a slasher movie, that would be the setup, which is this kind of is, obviously,
right.
but it's just a little bit later in the movie. Like that's the catalyst for, instead of a vengeful parent coming out, he turns to this witch. So essentially it's a slasher movie with a supernatural twist.
Yeah, basically.
Really. I
Yeah.
instead of Mrs. Voorhees going out to kill, she goes to this old witch down the lake in the Crystal Lake hut and asks for the Crystal Lake monster to come and wreak havoc on all the teenagers and that are at the
True.
camp. Why am I stumbling over my words? But that's
I don't
where I'm
know.
going with it. That's exactly what it is. I mean, yeah, I can't seem to construct a sentence today, but that's fine. But that doesn't necessarily take away from it. I mean, maybe that's why. Maybe I should like it more because it falls that sort of slasher formula, but it's just something like, again, there's no hate. It's just sort of like a 7.5 out of 10. Like it's a good movie. I don't want to make it sound like I don't like it. I'm just not. I don't blow it. It's not a must watch for me, but I like it.
I'm with you. It's a 7.5 for me too. So at the end of the
Yeah.
day, that's what it is. But I do think I do enjoy it. It's a great October movie. I want to say something that I thought about last night about the look of it. I've been kind of critical about the way movies look in the 90s sometimes. Like they have like a TV movie feel and a lot of things and shit like that. I noticed that movies from like 1988 and upwards kind of like this movie is 1988. I think it started in the late 80s and continued in the early 90s. And what I'm going to say is this. The aesthetic, whatever type of film stock they were using when they made this movie, and other movies like it at this time, this is what I noticed. And you probably appreciate this because you're into the film stock and the movie making aspect of it. Here, this is what it is. When you see these people that are dressed like shabbily, and they're supposed to be portraying like poor folk and this and that, country folk, whatever you want to call them, farm hands. It seems to me that they're wearing costumes. It doesn't seem to me like it's authentic. Like everything looks too new and too clean to be authentic. Now, take that same thing and picture a movie in the 70s, like a Deliverance or something, and the way those people looked, that actually looks like those are real people in the woods, the way they're dressed. When you see people in a movie like this, like the family with the bags on their clothes, and do you get what I'm saying? How it looks too new, and it almost like watching a play.
I wonder if it's just a set. I wonder if that's what it was. I think maybe they filmed some stuff they just made a set piece where it was dressed up, and we're just watching like they're in a set. So that's why I don't think it was on location per se. And that
no, but it's the clothes they wear. It's the clothes they wear. For some reason, when you see them, because of the way this film looks, it looks like everything. I wish I could. It looks. I understand why they did it because they had made advancements and they want everything to look as clear as possible and everything else. And I'm not usually the one that complains about this. But for some reason, when I think of a movie from the 70s, when you have like, poor folk dressed a certain way, just think about some of the 70s, like the guys we just saw, like Last House on the Left and shit like that. Things, the look of that compared to the look of characters in 1988 with these children, like when they come there in the pickup truck and the guy comes to get his feed, buck flowers and the whole thing. And when you see them with these dirty clothes and everything else, a little dirt on their face and like these shabby clothes, something about those shabby clothes and the way they're dressed, it doesn't look authentic to me. It looks like somebody is at a Hollywood lot or you're at a tour at Universal.
Like a Spirit Halloween.
Not even a Spirit Halloween, but they just look like shit. like costumes. They have a costume look to them as opposed to like real clothes. Like watch something from the 70s that's supposed to take, that's supposed to be showing like farm folks and like people that like live in areas like this. I can't explain what the reason is, but it looks more like it looks like I'm watching a movie here, like I'm watching something almost like a stage presentation that happens to be on film, as compared to watching an actual film from the 70s or something. I wish I could explain it, but I've given the 90s movies that TV look complaint before, but I think it starts in the late 80s with some independent films. I don't know. It's just something I thought when I'm watching Pumpkinhead, even like when you watch like Friday 7, just compare Friday 7.
Funny, that's what I was thinking.
4.
Friday 7.
Right. Compared to like
that looks like TV quality to me.
See?
I was funny when you were saying this. Friday 7 was popping in my head. This one still looks like a film to me. Yeah, maybe they overdid it with the look there, but I didn't necessarily see what you're saying for that here per se. But Friday 7 is a perfect example. Seems like just cheap, the lighting, the sets, and whatever. Just looks more like bad sets.
Yeah, I mean maybe that's it too. Everything it looks a little bit different. Like, and look at like 1984. Look at Friday the Final Chapter compared to The New Blood, which was just fucking 4 years later. And look at the type of film stock that's used. It just looks different. It looks like maybe it is just cheaper, but maybe at the time I don't know. Maybe they thought they were going someplace next, someplace good. With
this one for whatever reason didn't have that made for TV look to it. I thought The Gate kind of had that, to be honest, from last episode. That kind of felt more in that realm if I had to compare the movies, but this one definitely, I mean, was it a high budget movie, but it still had like a $3 million budget or $3.5 million budget or something like that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And They Live had like a $4 million budget. That doesn't look like TV at all. You know what I mean?
Well, that's John Carpenter and
so it's different.
He usually has. I don't think it was Dean Cundy in that one, but I can find out who the director of photography was there too. But that's what's going to make a difference as well.
Yeah.
So
it's the budget though. It was estimated a $4 million budget for that one. The reason I know, I had to look it up yesterday, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But
okay, well, why don't we get into it? Oh, that was Pumpkinhead, right. Yeah. And now let's get into our next movie, which of course is John Carpenter's They Live, also from 1988, of course. They influence our decisions without us knowing it. They numb our senses without us feeling it. They control our lives without us realizing it. They live.
They fucking do live.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, this is a fucked up coincidence now, okay? As you know, I've alluded to this before, that we're watching the old wrestling chronologically in order from a certain... We started right before COVID began. So I want to say like January of 2020. We started watching. We got our hands on the first set of discs, and every single week, there was the wrestling show, and so we've been watching them. We started 1984, the first week of January, and we started this in like January of 2020. Okay, so now we had to pause a little bit for COVID. Right now we're in 1987, and here's the weird thing. We literally just watched, and we do everything chronologically, every fucking show leading to everything, okay, including WrestleManias and everything. So now, 1987, the end of March, or beginning of April, we have WrestleMania 3. Now, the reason I bring up WrestleMania 3 is we've been watching Roddy Piper since 1984, right? In 1987, WrestleMania 3 is his last match before he retires and goes away. And he's going away. Guess why he's going away?
To make movies.
Yes, to make this movie. So how fucked up is it that we just saw his last match of him going away on Friday night to go away and make a movie, and I just so happen to have had to watch this movie for this podcast? Isn't that fucking... The odds of us starting when we did and the timing being exactly precise of his last match, because he doesn't come back for 2 full years, and he's never a full timer again. He comes back in part-time status and he becomes different stuff. But I mean, his best run, which by the way is the best run ever for a villain, from 84 to 86 by far. Okay, and then he does this thing at the end. It really is. You can't even question it. So he has this great run, historic fucking run, and leaves wrestling in his 30s, in his prime age, at the height of its fucking popularity. WrestleMania 3 is the height of fucking everything coming together. So it's fucking astronomical right now. They just sold out 93,000 in the Silverdome. They're fucking huge, right? Next level. He walks away now at the height of its popularity and his popularity because he became a good guy, right? To go do this. And he does the movie. And it's just so weird that we just happened to watch this.
He does like two movies, but that doesn't really do anything else.
Here's what he does.
Hell Comes to Frogtown and They Live, but I actually haven't looked at his filmography.
He did another one too that year. 2 came out before They Live. Hell Comes to Frogtown, something else. He did 1 episode on a TV show and They Live. So he has 4 acting credits for actual acting jobs that aren't, because you can't look at his credits, because anything wrestling that he's ever been on is going to be there, because they put out a disc for WrestleMania 3, or they put out a VHS fucking for whatever, greatest bad guys of the 80s or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? So it's tough to look just at his acting credits because he's credited for so many wrestling things. But yeah, he goes away, does Frogtown, does an episode of something, does another movie, I forgot what it's called, and They Live. That's the order they come out. I think They Live was shot first, because I remember that being the reason he was going. But
he's not a bad actor. Like, I mean, he sells it. Like, I'm fine with him in this movie. He's totally fine. The great thing about John Carpenter films is, and this is what I love about John Carpenter, I think, is he just seemed to be able to make the movies he wanted to make. I'm not saying he didn't have studio interference like we were talking about earlier, but it just seemed like he's like, fuck it, I want to make this, and he got to make it. And like, maybe not all of them, but a good chunk of them, like Assault on Precinct 13, Queen, the Fog, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But like Escape from New York, Big Trouble in Little China, They Live, and Prince of Darkness seem to fit that sort of mold of, I get to make the movies I want to make. And kind of like macho 80s like movies that like, I'm not saying women can't appreciate these, because they do, but they were kind of like a guys movie of some sort.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not right to say anymore, but that's kind of how the feeling of it is. And it's seeming like how they were made back in the day. You've got a fight scene that goes on for like 5 minutes in the middle of a movie that's only an hour and a half, just to get some guy to put sunglasses on the other guy. It's fucking hilarious. It goes on for like 5 fucking minutes of them.
It's too much.
The fucking shit out of each other. But it's a fun movie, and the message in it is great. It's still timely, and
more so than ever.
I like how I like how he's introduced. He's likable out of the gate, and how he stumbles upon this. Like, he's sort of seeing things happen. He's like, wait a second here. He's doing it, but then how he gets those sunglasses, and then how he gets involved to kind of make this better. And the movie does not overstay its welcome. I mean, it feels like this movie could have even been much larger and bigger and grandiose in scale, but it does what it does efficiently, and it's fun. And it's action packed, a little ridiculous. I mean, like, there's guys literally shooting machine guns down at someone. They look like they're 10 feet away from one another, but the bad guys always miss and the good guys always hit. It's no different. Like, it's almost like he's parodying action movies from the 80s, because that's what that feels like. I love it. It's great. I was wondering if you were going to like it because it's more sci-fi action as opposed to horror. But
okay. Now, I never watched this movie ever, because you know how I feel. I don't like wrestlers.
Name on it.
I don't like wrestlers in my movies. Even though Roddy Piper for the longest time was my favorite, and like I said, he had the best run, and I fucking loved him growing up and everything else, and I feel a kinship with Roddy Piper. I do. I think he's was a great guy. So, and when he passed away, I remember where I was, and it fucking actually did affect me. I was like, fuck. Anyway, Roddy Piper, no, I never have watched. This was the first one I ever watched of a wrestler in the movie.
So no, other than Thunderlips with Rocky III, obviously.
But he's playing a wrestler. That's different. Yeah. You know what I mean? But yeah.
So not Suburban Commando or Dookie.
Well, okay. I did watch those too. But again, either way, I did watch those. This is true. But the thing, No Holds Barred. You know,
so what other fucking wrestling movie did you watch? You know, was Andre that you didn't watch The Princess Bride with Andre the Giant?
No, still haven't watched it.
Okay, well that's fine, because I don't like that movie personally, but
not because of Andre. Just
Well, I know, but I'm making the
Princess
joke.
Bride didn't occur to. Well, Hogan is different, and I kind of watch them like with
What
tongue
movie
in
with a wrestler?
No,
He
but
was 10.
I watched the Hogan one because it's Hogan. It was a tongue in cheek watching though. Like when I
Yeah.
watched them, I wasn't. It would just be on cable, and I flip it. I go,
Yeah.
oh, okay, it's Hulk Hogan. Let's see what it is. I never went out of my way and rented fucking Suburban
What was he
Commando
in?
or Mr. Nanny,
Mr. Nanny, Suburban Commando.
whatever the fuck.
What's the other one that we're missing?
No Holds Barred was the fucking.
No Holds Barred. Yeah.
I had to watch that. That was based on wrestling at the time. It was a thing. You know what I mean? He's playing himself. Again, that's different. And it was just half joke. But like in a serious role, when this came out, I didn't watch it because it's Roddy Piper. And I'm like, I don't know. And now this is what I think has hurt his career acting when it did. Because he's Roddy Piper. And because he does that wrestling scene and the fight, that 5-minute fight, he's doing all Piper wrestling stuff. He's doing wrestling moves that people would never do in a street fight.
It's a street
here's
fight.
The thing.
And he's like fucking suplexing them. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, he was. I don't know if he suplexed him. I think he gave him an atomic drop or he gave him a fireman's carry. Gave him whatever the fuck he did. He did some wrestling things, and this is what I think. I think critics that saw this movie, because they see this type of fight and because they see that it's Roddy Piper, they can't take him seriously as an actor now. And I think that actually hurt him moving forward as an actor because he's still doing wrestling things in a movie. You're supposed to distance yourself. You don't see The Rock when he went into fucking in the Scorpion King putting a fucking scorpion deathlock on somebody or something. He didn't do that. He did. I didn't see it, so I don't know. But I'm gonna guess. I'm guessing that The Rock was portrayed the same way as Schwarzenegger would have been in that role, or any other fucking guy you want to throw in there. Just a guy that's kicking ass doing his thing, not wrestling moves. So I think that kind of hurt.
Was that a bubblegum?
Yeah. Now, how about that? You know how that even happened? Roddy Piper was so good on the mic at fucking at saying shit. But what he would do was he had like a sketchbook at home, and anytime he thought a good kick-ass line, he would write it down in the sketchbook and wait for the time to use it in a wrestling promo. And he had this fucking book, and then he retired. He had this book full of stuff he never used. And he
should have just released that as a book. That would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome. You're right. I like to see that. Yeah.
The quips.
So, right.
Roddy quips.
Yeah, but either Carpenter saw the whole book or Piper read that one to him. Either way, it was ad-libbed in a sense by Piper. It was like that was one of his lines that he was going to use for wrestling.
A wrestling line, yeah.
Yeah, and it got used here, which is great. And I love seeing him. Again, they use his strengths. He doesn't talk a lot, even though talking is his strength. But in the beginning, when he's having a regular death, there's a lot of quietness going on for a while. Him walking around and the music. And it looks like Dean Cundy, but it's not.
It's not, though. It's the other dude. I had it up, but I turned it off.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Bottom line is, I thought
Gibbs or something like that. Yeah. There is a lot of, and there's that music, whatever,
right.
which became very popular. And Carpenter used it. I think he, like in Vampires, it was there. Like later in the 90s, it's sort of, it's here for sure, but it works. Like he's like a drifter. He comes in, meets Keith David, or is it David?
Mm-hmm. Keith David. It is him.
And he's great. He looks so young now. It's so funny because I even watched The Thing, and he looks younger in this than he does in The Thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Which is
weird,
funny.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's so weird. And I like how he brings it in, and it is sad when he gets off because he's the one with the family, and he's just here to help out, and he gets fucking killed. And like this movie just clicks along. There's a little bit of convenience, like the whole Meg, what's her face, Meg
Foster,
Meg Ryan, Meg Foster,
yeah.
Him kidnapping her and her connection with everything later on. When he gets thrown out the window, I know I'm jumping all over the place, but when he gets thrown out of her window, like
it's a shock. It's a shock.
Hits him with the bottle. He goes through the window. There's a nice veranda right beside it. It's always like a comedy sketch. He goes right past the veranda, and he flies like 3 stories down and just hits the ground, twirls up, and pressure, just dusts himself off. But I do like how you see damage on him. Like he's all red, he's cut and battered a little. Like he's been through hell. But there's a little bit of convenience there. It's almost like a wedged-in love interest. But Carpenter seems to be able to get away with it. Somehow he makes it sort of work. Like I used to watch this movie a lot when I was younger. Like I'd seen this movie a ton of, I don't even know how many times. But then it was like one of those ones that just like kind of like Prince of Darkness for whatever reason. I just hadn't watched it for years.
Right.
And I've been meaning to. And then I was going to get the Scream Factory Blu-ray. I'm like, well, now I'm going to hold out and I'm going to get the Scream Factory 4K, which is on, for anybody who wants a Shocktober special, it's on. They've got a good price for it. I think it's like $18 for the 4K.
For what?
For They Live and also Prince of Darkness are $18 each.
I'll buy Prince of Darkness 4K.
Wow. Yeah, $18 American, of course. They have some really good deals on their shit there.
I'll have to look. I didn't know.
Yeah, It's on now. Shocktober.
Shocktober, people. Get the old shocker.
Anyway, so I'm like, I thought I was like, oh, I'll pick it up for that. But I mean, then I missed this movie. Like watching it again, I'm like, a smile was on my face. I'm like, it's like revisiting an old friend. It sounds really corny, but that's what it felt like. I mean, something that I remember watching so religiously back in the day, and having such a break from it. It just never. It seemed like what ended up happening was The Fog and Christine became more in the rotation than this and Prince of Darkness.
Makes sense though.
Yeah, but I mean, I watched them kind of more like even, and actually, to be honest, I'd probably say They Live was one that was on more rotation over and over again.
Fuck, I blind bought this.
Well,
when Scream Factory was around and I was buying Screams and they were the new kid on the block, you know what I'm saying? And this one was released. It was a Carpenter. The price must have been right, and I said, "Damn it, I'm just gonna blind buy this movie." And then I watched it, and I was like, "Okay, that's fine." You know what I mean? I was into the message more than anything, which I have.
We haven't even gotten to that yet.
Appreciation. Yeah. Because honestly, there's nothing this is the thing. There's not a whole lot you could. It's such a basic fucking thing. They come here. He arrives. He sees that something's up. He sees the government comes in, the police. They take him out. He goes in there. He gets the glasses. Now he knows everything is. Now let's go fight it. There isn't a whole lot of fucking shit that goes on that I can even talk about. Like I guess.
Well, more it's the message that you want to talk about, and the transition for the Bucky guy, or the guy we said was the common link into two movies. That transition was like that seemed too quick. Like from him being the guy that was down in the dumps to suddenly Mr.
Right.
Like unless he was like a spy that we're unaware of to watch.
Could have been.
Or not, that's the only explanation, but he doesn't say that he was. He just sort of shows up and said, "Hey guys, didn't know that you guys were recruited. We all get to have a taste of the good life. Why not?" And I thought of you because I thought you would be one to taste the good life and just say, "Hey, why the fuck not?"
Well, I was just going to ask you. Well, check it.
What harm is it doing in the big picture?
Okay, I wrote it down. Look, this is what I wrote, and I was going to ask you what you would do because this is literally what he says. We all sell out. Might as well be on the winning team. And I'm thinking, well, with this knowledge, and what Keith David says to him is you can do that to your fellow people. But he isn't really doing anything to the people except taking a good job and fucking becoming one and being aligned with them. You can't stop them. It's like he says, this is huge. They've taken over everything. We can't take them out. You know what I mean? So what are you
going to do? But then they expose him at the end. And that's why it's such a great ending because it's like, now what? You think it's stupid?
Hold on. This is what I think is stupid. That small fucking building, Channel 57, in that one particular city, controls the whole fucking world of these fucking aliens. If they have all these advancements, they can do all these things. They only have one fucking tiny shop at the top of one fucking skyscraper that happens to be a city. That's bullshit.
Maybe they should have limited. Maybe it was just limited to the greater region of the area. Where was it?
Maybe
was it
so.
LA or San Francisco? Maybe it was just there. Maybe it's the States. But I mean, I love all that. You're right. It's a little. If it's grandiose with the whole world. So they're taking every top level job. I guess that's what you're supposed to get from the dialogue. It's saying, well, you already got the promotion. And the other guys, oh, well, one day you'll get it or whatever. But he's, of course, one of the aliens and this guy's not. So they're saying that everybody's being overlooked for the best positions. But then you've got all these common folk that are there to help the recruitment factor. Now, they're the ones selling out on the people. So I guess they get a taste of the good life.
Well, it's that or get shit.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
So
You're gonna get shit on, or are you gonna fucking take the job and provide for your family?
I'd like to say I'd be in the revolution to change things, but
Yeah,
I
but
feel like I'd probably take the job and take the money and make sure, and I just like, say to my family, okay, we got to do something about this.
well, here's
Come
the
on, let's
problem.
rile the gang up and get this done.
That's the problem. My heart has and always will be with revolution. Right now, when you watch this movie, and that was something that once upon a time I'd be willing to lay down my life for. If I knew that a bunch of us were going to get together and actually go to the fucking White House, and I've been saying this fucking for years, and fucking storm the government, millions of us go there and fucking overthrow the fucking shit that goes on in this government as one, that's a real revolution. That is a cause that at one time I'd be willing to die for. Now, now I don't want to fight for. This is the problem nowadays, like what they say in this movie, this is the sad part. Here's a line in this thing. He says, Keith David is great. He's like, yeah, we gave them a break and when they needed it and they gave themselves raises. He's just talking about
Yeah.
the 1%, the upper, this and that, which ultimately that's what all this is. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the guy comes on and says they're dismantling the sleeping middle class. That all is exactly what's going on here. And here's the line that got me. We have this and this. He goes, we're just not reaching enough people. That was their fucking thing. Now here's the problem. This is the sad state of affairs of everything now. Now they can reach everybody, and they are reaching everybody. But the problem is the system has no wisdom. The devil split us in pairs. They have the left against the right fighting each other. And I've been saying this for years. Instead of coming together and saying, let's go fucking get them because they're together.
And that's what they want.
Right.
So if you want anything conspiracy theory here, this is exactly it. They've got us. They've got you like now embraced in this right versus left war, and they're like, okay, good. We could still make money, and it's half the people that we don't even give a fuck about are fighting our cause for us and filtering our money and everything else that we get. And so you're right. So here it is back in 1988 as part of what was seen and viewed upon in the 80s as consumption and just the like me and just exuberance in that regard, and it's still here in a really crazy ass form now. But like consume and everything, I guess it's just to keep the machine going, right? Consume, just keep reproduce, consume, obey, yeah,
marry and reproduce, all that fucking shit. And the biggest one of all, which you only see it twice, but it is my number one fucking thing. I say all the time about nowadays, no independent thought. That's literally what it says on one of the things. That's what we see now. That's why nowadays I'm not willing to die for it, the revolution, because I'm not willing to die for the fucking left or the right because they're way too fucked up and I can't agree with what the fuck they talk about. So it's like, why am I going to die for these citizens?
34 years later, and we have the same issues that this movie is showcasing there. So it's always
right, but here's the problem. Now they're against. Now even with information, they'd rather be against each other than against the ones that are running it.
Well, that's
divide and conquer.
That's almost like They Live 2 would be the fact that was the next stage in their plan was to get that to happen. It's actually quite fun to think about how it would be because ultimately they're using the alien factor there, but they're talking about the 1%. I do like those little the watch doohickey things, and
they're cool. When he jumps in the thing and when they're trapped and and he says, "Your time, this is gonna disappear." That is all cool. I love that shit. Here's the question I have. So that dude just happened to be at the same hotel at the fucking Buck Flowers. So they're having all this shit go down. They're attacking. He goes to the bank. He does his thing, chew bubblegum, blah, blah, blah. They got all this stuff going on. He convinces fucking, what's his name, Keith David to go. Piper convinces him, and they're going to go, and they're doing all this running around. And the guy just happens to go, hey, come here. And he just happens to grab fucking them, Buck Flowers. He just happened to be at the same hotel as those two, and that's why all this went down.
I'm telling you, everything. There's a lot of convenience here.
It's a little contrived
with the plot. If you think about it, but they smoke and mirrors it, so you get to be like it's well done in the sense of keeping it flowing. But if you just stop and think about it for a minute, or upon critiquing or rewatching, there's a lot of convenience, like the Meg. Why do I keep forgetting Reg Foster? connection, and what you just mentioned there, the fact that, okay, so he managed to find these box of sunglasses. Well, we already they do mention that they just got the contact lenses in that day.
Yes.
So I was going to say,
when
but
they
they already had contact lenses. Why weren't those in mass production? But they allude to it. So that's covered in the dialogue and whatever. So that's fine. But he's also he sees this, proves it to himself in like what, a matter of like a half an hour, grabs a gun, walks into a bank, and just starts like the revolution on them. Like it's Luke believing in the Force as quickly as he does in a short period of time. Like, it's all great. When I was a kid, Star Wars just worked, and everything still works for me. But it's funny when you watch the Family Guy parody of it, how quickly, how they narrow in on certain things that you're like, you just sort of take for granted over by watching it so long, is like how quickly Luke embraces the Force and everything it has to do with it.
Well, I'll tell you why.
Within the realm of that movie. And
it makes sense to me.
It's the same thing here. He throws on these sunglasses, figures out what's going on, and it's like, okay, it's Miller time. Gary Miller time. And he decides to go on a fucking spree.
But yeah, what would you do if you saw that? You'd be the same way. You'd be like, what the fuck? Here's the thing is, now you know it's there. I've been saying it for fucking 30 years. But I mean, now you know it's there. You got to do something. And that's the thing. Here's the thing that happens in this movie. It would never come to that in this country. This country is smart enough to not show its cards that way. Like, when the police are not going to come and fucking blow and just kill those people for no reason. When they show up at that fucking place, they tear down the area and this and that, and they beat up the preacher and they fuck the other guy up and everything else, and they kill. That would never happen. If police are going to act that way, there's going to be a good damn reason for them to do it. Not they're not just going to say, well, what happened here? I mean, yes, they can make something up, but you're still killing civilians. You don't see that in the United States in that manner. Now, you may see it on minorities because they have cops being assholes from time to time doing things, but not a group of people that are just sitting there doing nothing, like staying here. You know what I mean? So they do this shit. And that's the thing. That's the thing that everybody's afraid of happening in real life, is that they always say, oh, they're going to take away our freedoms. And and I always say, they're never going to be this blatant. They need you too much to consume. If all of a sudden you're fearful for your life and them taking your guns away and coming in and doing this, and this, you're not going to watch their football anymore. You're not going to do this. You're not going to buy that. They're never going to be that blatant. That's what people don't understand. And now you have all this information, and basically this is like the 1% running everything.
They are living in fear. They're constantly in fear, and that's that one.
Well, yeah,
the one sign that they'll need to update if this movie was ever remade is like live in fear or stay afraid. Yes. or whatever. That would be the one other one that would be there, because they want that, because that kind of goes along the lines of obey and consume.
Correct.
And it just helps keep in line and keep in check.
And oppose the other side. That'd be another big one. Do whatever you can to automatically oppose. Like, in other words, it's like my father always says. He goes, well, you know what? He always says it about whoever's the president. If it's Trump or if it's Biden, whichever one, he always says, he goes, he could shit gold and the fucking other side would have a problem with him.
Yeah.
And I go, you're right. And it's true.
It's like the Civil War now is online and against politically, and keep everybody busy and in activity. Like, that's exactly it. So your stance, like, is what I've leaned towards that. We've talked about a couple episodes ago. It's just separate it. Just separate yourself from it altogether. But ultimately, we do. I mean, it's just saying, I don't need to see it constantly on my feed or whatever.
No, of course.
Social media's helped push this agenda. Social media, Zach, what's his name? What the fucking guy's name?
Efron?
Zach Efron, the social media guy. I can't remember the guy's name now. Why am it's drawing a blank. He would be
Baggins?
No, now you're combining two. I don't even know if Zach is his fucking guy's name. Anyway, he would be an alien in the new version, because it would be perfect. It was like this creation of social media, and consumption, and it just feeds right into everything that they would want.
Andrea Zuckerman?
It's Zuckerberg.
Okay, I said Andrea Zuckerman. Yeah. That's 90210. No, I don't know. It's something like that. But I hear you.
Yeah,
but see, them. Well, this is what I've always said. It's 24-hour news was the beginning of it all. 24-hour news stations, and now fucking social media, and that's it. And here's the funny part. Like I said,
Mark.
Ultimate Mark. Okay, everybody has a problem with the government at the end of the day, but because they know that we're all fucked, that we're basically all fucked here. But instead of focusing on the real problem, they're too worried about fucking. You hear them talk about small time shit. They talk about fucking Benghazi and fucking Matazaro, whatever the fuck this shit is. They talk about fucking a person like a Ferguson. They talk about who's that guy that Epstein. They talk about an abortion thing that happened over here. They talk about fucking the blue lives matter, the black lives matter. Instead of fucking focusing on, hey, they're fucking all of us. Let's get together and fucking overthrow this fucking tyranny and fucking change everything, because what we have clearly isn't fucking working. They don't. They'd rather focus on all this fucking small potato shit, and they think that they're fighting a good fight. Meanwhile, they're fighting nothing. They're just bitching. They're talking about it online, on podcasts, on fucking YouTube, doing the same thing I'm doing now. But if people ever decided to say, hey, let's come together, let's fucking go, and let's fucking together. Revolt, I'm right there with it. Fuck this shit. Let's go and do it. Because they're never going to be, like I said, they're never going to be that brazen where they're just going to come out. They have to cover up. But but all I know is the shrinking middle class is it. They said it then. It's continued to be now. And I'll get off that horse. I don't mean to, but
no.
But
that's what this movie. That's what the discussion leads to. That's what you're saying. There's not a lot to say. Well, the movie itself is disguised as a sci-fi action romp. It has this cool message. Like this is the fact that it even goes into black and white for those things too. And I remember, I think it was Ebert complained about the alien makeup back in the day, saying
it's amazing.
It was horrible. I thought it was amazing.
Great. Yes,
it's amazing. And when they do get exposed at the end, even and I'll just say maybe it's just the general area. Just make it more believable and take less away from my enjoyment of the movie, of it being across the whole world or intergalactic. I think it was just the immediate area there. I think when they get exposed, I wish there was more scenes of them being exposed. It was like 3 or 4 scenes. And it's funny, my son walked in right when they see the girl topless riding her. And he's like, uh-oh. And he walks out. I'm like, oh, it's the end of the movie. He's like, what? That's the end of the movie? I'm like, yeah. He's like, and then that guy just responds in the makeup, and then the movie ends. I think it's such a great way to end the movie. But you almost want to say, what next? They've been exposed, but what next? And they've been exposed in one area, but what next?
Right.
I can tell I like the movie more than you do.
No, well, probably. I mean, I like it. There's just not a whole hell of a lot that's going on. It's very basic. This happens, and it's the message that I love. But the other stuff is just kind of, it's cool. I mean, I don't regret my time with it or anything like that. I like seeing Piper, and I like Keith David, and I like the way the aliens look. But then it goes into action sequence, and I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea in that respect. But I love the.
And I thought so when I watched
the sci-fi shit.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's a scary thought. That's the horrific stuff. It's that fucking, it's funny that it's aliens, and it's funny that he even says it. He goes, that would be something like this. See, I'm over here talking about, the 1%, which is just what I'll use. The elite is the word I'll use for all of it. And I feel that they're all together, Republican, fucking Democrat, whoever. They don't give a fuck, and everything they do is nefarious on both sides. It's just the fucking shades to make people think they have fucking choice. Anyway, so they have all this stuff going on. They create all these problems. They probably leak shit on purpose. They probably do things on purpose just to keep everybody fucking at each other's throats. And in the meanwhile, they're fucking laughing all the way to the bank, and they have it all. Now these are aliens doing it, which again, it's almost like a takeover. They're coming to the planet to take it over. How are we going to take this planet over? And they even had that one line. I don't know if it's Piper that says it or fucking Keith David. He goes, I wonder if they're just. I might have even written it down. If they're just being entertained by us all hating each other or something like that. I wonder if they just do it for their own entertainment to see us hate each other and act that way because they don't like us. Or you know what I mean? They just want to see fucking.
Well, they live amongst everybody. It's like you can see them working with one another, socializing with one another. So I can understand there seems to be the message part is great, but I feel like there should have been a little bit more, another element, I guess, if you will, because they live almost amongst us or whatever, like would be like kind of what they're going for there. But there's this message, but yet there's still just out and about shopping in the same areas that we shop at. Some of them are cops.
Of course.
Some of them are, you know what I mean? Like, so.
Yep.
But,
I know. They're everywhere. But again, they have to.
Give me 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They have to carry on a certain way. They have to keep up appearances, and they want to have somebody in every line of work. So maybe they are the equivalent of the 1%. But that doesn't mean that they all have to be rich. It means that these aliens are kind of like worker bees, some of them. So like, okay, well, we have to have a couple that are cops. We have to have a couple that are in the business world. This is going to help us keep things on the up and up. They're going to be able to communicate certain things that we want communicated, and that's how they're going to have their water cooler talk and what have you at different jobs. So I guess those particular aliens aren't elite, but who knows what they go home to at the end of the day and what they plan on happening in the future when they've wiped out the human race. Because ultimately they're just making money off us. We're just consumers. That's why it's marry and reproduce. We want more consumers out there. Just keep giving us your money. Keep watching these movies, watching these TVs, watching these news programs, everything else. So it's okay I'm alone, because this is a subject I can talk about for a long time. And sadly, there's nothing we can do. There's two ways to look at it. You can just be angry about what's going on in the political spectrum and around the world and everything else. Or you can be like me and say, well, it's not getting better. It's not going to change. I'm just going to sit here and chill out. And there's no fight that I can win. There's no fight that I believe in enough, except against all of them, just to overthrow it and start over, which we know is never going to happen. You can't even get people to boycott freaking gas for a day. Not that that was a solution when people were talking about that at one point, but I'm just saying you cannot get people across the board to agree on anything. And if they start to, there's going to be a problem. Someone's going to create a problem. Someone's going to become assassinated. Something will happen. They'll never let us be on the same page. But hey, in the short time we have together, let's just enjoy the things that we enjoy together. That's all it is. That's what this show is all about. At least we have, these opportunities. It's okay. I kept going.
I know. I could hear you. I could still hear you. That's the one good thing about these and the distance that you have with them is you can still hear. And you summed it all up. But you're talking about it. You're right. There feels like there's a missing component, but I still love the movie for what it is. And I kind of think the what's next level could actually be the more important part. It's almost like,
I know.
It's almost like this should have been condensed and that should have been the second turning point to give you the climax almost. So it's weird that there's so much more that could have been explored here to make it even more epic, I think. But
100%. But it was a different time.
Yeah.
And I don't think he wanted to be too political and choose a side. He wanted to keep it on the grand spectrum, which is good, because then you're not alienating anybody. You're just like, we don't know if the president is a conservative or a liberal. We know that there's a guy up there, but in his eyes, they're all the same. They're all aliens. And that's the point I try to make. They're all the fucking same. You know what I mean? So it's like, he didn't make it, okay, the right is good, the left is bad, or the left is good and the right is bad, or whatever. He made it like everything's fucked up. And which is smart. If he would have gone deeper, who knows? He might have gone too far.
Yeah, and maybe you're right. Maybe that's exactly keeping it more like this.
Right.
Has us talking about it more, and so maybe that, and there's something to that as well. But I think there's just more story to uncover, and I still think you could do it without necessarily going down 100% political. I mean, there's political here. Obviously, you've got a politician talking, but ultimately, you're right. There's not a side necessarily chosen or spoken about. It's just it's us versus them in a sense.
But now, if they could do it now, and the signs they could have up there, it would be different signs. Like one of them you said was, be afraid, be prepared, doomsday is near. Be very afraid. One of them could say fucking something like
slogans from other horror movies.
Right. After 12 years of silence, the buzz is back.
Yeah. What the fuck does that one mean?
Right. Just have random signs could be up there, though. It could be like fucking Think of something. Buy guns, you're not safe, or something. Fucking stay woke could be another thing, or just all this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is funny that the word woke is used, and here they say stay asleep. But in essence, some people will say that somebody that is trying to stay woke, I should say, is asleep in other ways. You know what I mean? And again, it's just opinions from varying sides. I'm not taking sides. I'm just saying that you could have all that stuff up there where people, and it's all conflicting stuff. Man, I almost wish they could be fucking brainwashed by somebody else just to fucking, revolt. That'd be some shit, huh? If we could find a way to fucking tap the systems.
Well, tap the system. I was afraid to rage against them.
I was born to rage against them. Yeah.
That was right. I was born to rage against them.
Yeah, fucking rage. Absolutely. Amazing.
But you could see, was Rodney Piper always supposed to be the lead here? This looks like it was written and could have easily been Kurt Russell.
Sure. I think he wanted Piper. I think Carpenter approached
I can't remember. I haven't watched the special feature, so I'm just going by memory.
I wish I did, because I think I remember hearing Piper talk about it, that he was wanted. I don't know. I have to really. Anyway. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
It just seems like maybe he wanted to take a break from Kurt Russell, since he had worked with him so many times, and that's fine. But it just seems like this is like another pairing that would have been like John Carpenter, Kurt Russell.
Well, here's this one.
And Keith David.
I don't know if this is right, though. It says John Carpenter wanted a truly rugged individual to play Nada. He cast wrestler Roddy Piper in the lead role after seeing him in WrestleMania 3. Which I don't think that's true. I think he grew his hair long at the end and continued to wear it long I thought he was leaving because of They Live. So he wouldn't have just happened. He retired in 1980 at WrestleMania 3. So I don't know how true that is. I'd like to know. I'd like to know, honestly. I'd like to go back and see. Here you go. Vince McMahon didn't want Piper to do the film. Yeah, I figured, says Carpenter. McMahon told Piper that he would find him a different film at the same pay rate within 4 weeks, but Piper passed up and ended up splitting with WWF. Carpenter asks why, and Piper states plainly that McMahon is a control freak. When I came back to wrestling, I was twice as important as when I left, he says, and credits Carpenter and the success of the film. The politics of that business is something I don't get, says Carpenter. So there you go. So he left to go do this movie. So that's contradicting. That's what I thought, though. I remember hearing that he was leaving to go They Live and whatever. To go.
I've heard Vince McMahon's a fucking ass.
Well, in some ways, but in some ways not. Like, everybody's got shades of gray. And don't get me started on the latest shit, because I don't know. Yeah. And I haven't seen a bunch of other people pop up, so I don't know. And even if he did cheat on his wife and pay people off, I'm not saying that's a good thing to do, but this isn't a situation like a Weinstein thing where he said, sleep with me for a job. Or he gave them hush money. He had affairs and gave them hush money, and then somebody opened their mouth. They went against the fucking NDA. But anyway, I'm not saying anything is right whatsoever. But damn, $25 million? He should have just got fucking a different hooker a day for a fucking year. At a tenth of the price, if you really wanted to screw her. Why would you give somebody $25 million to have an affair with them? I don't get that.
Crazy.
But right, you can get high. I don't know.
So many, distasteful jokes I can make right now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say nothing. But McMahon is known for taste. The way he runs his business is one way, but again, it's a proven business model in some other ways too. I mean, they're a fucking $1 billion corporation now.
Well,
but anyway. Whatever.
Let's end this bad boy. I feel
right.
I'm 8.5 out of 10.
Wow, I'm 7 out of 10.
Okay.
I dig it, but Yeah.
And so like I said, I loved seeing it again. I'm like, oh, fuck. Why have I been pushing this so long? And I think part of me is like, oh, I want to get the Blu. I want to get the 4K. Fuck, just watch the damn movie. Let's
I've been there though. I know you are.
I'm gonna wait, and then I never end up. I haven't watched it in years. So, no, it was great seeing it again, and I'm glad it was picked.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it was a good race. I thought for sure it was gonna be Killer Clowns. Remember, we put Pumpkinhead and Killer Clowns. They're gonna run away with it, and they weren't. I was like, okay, good. I've only seen Killer Clowns once, and it was a watch along on a podcast, a commentary episode. I still haven't sat down and watched it.
Really?
As a movie.
I actually really enjoy that movie too. But
I
that's
had fun when
another
I
one I haven't
watched
watched in a long time. But I used to watch that a lot too.
Yeah.
Some great lines in that movie. But
Never appealed to me as a kid. Killer clowns. I don't know, not that type anyway. You know, I was like, what do I give up? What do I care about clowns?
I figured that was exactly the thought process that went through your head.
Right.
So what
That
we're
was
doing?
it.
Obviously, we're going to put a poll out for 89.
Yeah, I don't even know what 89 is. I know Intruder.
And then
Intruder's one of them.
Intruder. We've already done Intruder.
Are we serious? Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah, we've done it.
So
And then a
pickings are
Halloween
slim.
show.
A Halloween
You know
show?
what they have in 89?
Society?
I was actually going to
Shocker.
buy this Society. I think Phantom of the Opera with Robert Englund. I love that movie. Well,
976
let me rephrase
Evil?
that. I really love that movie back in the day. I haven't watched it in ages and would love to see it again. And love
What
is a strong
movie?
word. I tell you that there's where hyperbole comes into play. I really dug the movie Phantom of the Opera. Dwight H. Reynolds,
Oh.
Phantom of the Opera with Robert Englund. I think it was overlooked. It's got Christine in it, the girl from Popcorn and Stepfather.
Jill Sholin?
Yes. Why did I say
Okay.
Christine? Oh, her name's Christine. Her character's.
Oh. She a car?
Yeah, she's a car.
How about The Church? I've never seen The Church and I've always wanted to.
Ooh, yeah, that's another good one too. Well, we'll put that fucking poll out and we'll see.
There
what
isn't a
wins.
lot. Edge of Sanity, because Anthony Perkins is in it. I'm a little curious about that.
Yeah.
There isn't really. There's. It's going to be like maybe.
We never did Pet Cemetery, did we?
I don't know.
I think we did. Old and new. Their Society would be a great one. Society, fucking Puppet Master. Do we even? Did we do the first Puppet Master? No, we did the. Right. Did we ever with the first one? There's the Church. There's Leviathan. There's Madman.
Yeah, they're all good.
Sanity, the Dead Pit. Shocker. Did we do Shocker?
No, we didn't do Shocker. No. So there's a couple. There's a couple
Phantom
there.
of the Mall. Eric's Revenge.
Oh, there you go.
Elle's Parents. The horror show.
The fucking horror show. Nice. Max Jinky. Saw it at the theater. Oh, with Shocker. That'd be cool. We should do Shocker and fucking horror show. They're both about guys that they got the electric chair and came back. They came out the same year.
Deep Star 6 and Leviathan.
Oh yeah, we'll have an underwater
horror. Oh, The Fly 2 is this year as well.
The Fly 2.
Yeah, Phantom of the Opera. There's actually a good chunk. We did Bride of Reanimator already. Chud 2.
Never. Fuck that fucking movie.
It's not going to be on the poll.
Fuck Chud 2. Fuck. Oh, no. No. Terrible. Is Pet Cemetery that year? I can't even remember. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
we'll see. All right. Well, let's be out, man. Let's be out. We got stuff to do.
Because we did. I swear we talked. I just can't remember if it was the old or new Pet Cemetery. I'm going to have to go back and research. But there's some movies, but let's get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah, let's go. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time. Happy. I don't know why I did that. Happy October, everybody. Yeah. We love you all. Thank you everyone that turned in the what do you call it? The list. Appreciate it. So I'll be hard at work now.
The ones that didn't, go fuck yourselves.
Well, that's okay. As long as you support and listen, we're happy. We love you. So keep doing what you're doing. Do what makes you happy. Don't worry about revolution. Just have fun in life while you can. Because it's short. There you go. So that's all I got. You got anything?
Have a good night, everybody. Love you so a long time.
Peace.
You say